I wonder if. Uh-oh. Well, hopefully we do not have to restart this. For those of you who are watching later, we're trying to have a joint live stream, and the technology may not be working. Someone's here, though. Hold on one second. We're trying to get our guest in. Rob, if watching, I just texted you the link to join. All right, everyone. Thank you for coming to another one of our semi-regularly unscheduled live streams. Oh, no, we don't want the green screen. Sorry. YouTube changed all this stuff. So, anywho, we are going to have a special guest tonight as soon as we get our technology worked out. Les is here. Oh, Rob's in the chat. Rob, what are you doing in the chat? You're supposed to be on the damn... what'd I do wrong? Oh, yeah, there we go. All right, Rob should be joining us.
Yeah, there we go. How you doing, brother? Good, man. I got hang on. I got to figure this out first. Holy cow! Let me mute the sound here. Technology. God dang it! Where is the?
Hey,
okay.
Here, how you doing?
What
brother?
in the?
Good to see you, Mary Golden. Everyone, thank you for putting up with our technical difficulties here. This is what happens when you get two old men trying to do complicated things together. It just doesn't work.
There.
Good grief. That sounds better.
All right. See if I can do this. Operation is locked. Rotate the button. Holy cow! I freaking hate technology.
I'm so sorry, Rob. You know,
no, that is okay. That is okay, brother. I got to introduce you to StreamYard one of these days. Let me get my volume up. My volume is up. Let me get my headset.
Yeah, I think I've got it. I just have never used it, and I should fix that. I should use it because apparently it works for people pretty good.
Okay, now I got to figure out how to set my phone somewhere without it falling because I can't turn it on its side. Oh no, it doesn't like that. Operation locked, orientation locked, not operation.
Yeah,
I swear nothing. Here, I got an idea. Let me grab like a cover. There actually no, of course there's not. I'm in a friggin' hotel room. Nothing's going to be like it should be.
Yeah, nothing's going to be easy.
No, hey, wait a minute. Here we go. This might work.
I actually wrecked my tripod the other day. I don't even have one anymore.
I do have a tripod. I've got a tripod, but there's no way to put a phone on it because I can't find it.
That does make it a little more difficult.
Yes, it does. That's the story of my life, Jack. Everything is difficult. By the way, howdy, brother. It's good to see you and be talking to you here. It really is.
We haven't talked in a while. I'm doing good.
Oh, this is insane. I don't know. What about this stupid thing? Okay, maybe this will work.
Well, I was doing good, and I just realized I broke my wood stove.
Oh, that's not good at all. Okay, can.
This fire is going to burn really hot because I can't shut it down. This light is too bright. There we go. Hey! Oh, that was a text message. I thought that was a chat. Someone just texted me.
All right. Hey, let me throw it. Nobody has given us a thumbs up yet. I'll be the first. Here we go.
We have 17 viewers. What, Rob? We need to start talking, or we're going to lose them.
Well, if I'm on here, they may not lose much. All right, let me
that's kind of been me as of late.
Damn this up, man. I'm trying to stand up.
So, 12,000, and we're under 14 already. Let me start talking, and then
Okay.
jump in when you're ready.
Okay, I think maybe we're. So,
man, we appreciate you being here tonight. We're off to a great start. 13 to get going, and we aren't even talking yet.
I know it. We're professional.
That ain't too shabby. So
I'll say hello and welcome to everyone. Oh, over here. I'm going to not look at my laptop. Hello and welcome to everyone.
What are you drinking?
In this case, well, this is the bottle, but that's not really what's in it.
Kentucky Gentleman.
Yeah, it's actually Turkey 101.
Oh, okay.
But that's a plastic bottle and it travels well.
Oh,
and I am so jealous, Zach. My hope was that I had been at home or somewhere where I could have a cigar too. And I think they frown on that here in this particular hotel. So no cigar for me.
Probably. Well, I feel like I could maybe go inside and get some whiskey, but all I've got is Jack Daniels right now.
Jack Daniels, brother. Yeah, okay. At least you said I should get whiskey, but okay, so you qualified it. Well done. Well done. Or a bottle of Shine. You know, a friend of mine, a British friend of mine was in that area not long ago, and him and another guy hooked up and brought me a bottle of very clear homemade whiskey from Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
Quite nice.
Well, they were really close to here. If I'd known you had friends in the area, I would have told you to have them get in touch. We would have hooked up because they were up in Gatlinburg, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Yep, that area. I think so. I don't know Eastern Tennessee as well, but yeah, that's my understanding. Yeah. Are you on here? I'm not. You're not? I was let's see if I can do this without. Yeah.
Oh my God, C103 is in the chat.
Yep, our buddy.
Hokey smokes.
There we go. She's kicked back and not on the stream like she should be, supporting her. She's supposed to be reading chat to me, but she's not. Oh well. Oh well. I'm probably the only guy that can't get his wife to do it. I tell her. And
Hair That's Happy is here, and Norman Gilden is here, and we haven't seen Norman in a while. And Aid hasn't been on the stream in a while. I think all these people are here for you, brother.
Well, not all of them, because there's a few names I don't recognize.
Okay. All right, so we're not going to be opening any Pokemon packs this evening, Lincoln.
Oh, good.
To just get this thing started, if you know my channel at all, you definitely know Rob's channel. This is Rob Painless from Rob Painless. And he is coming on to grace us with his wisdom this evening because he took a little inspiration from our last live stream that we had with Ken over at woodlinetracking.com. Yep. And Ken has written a I don't want to call it a tactical manual because that feels like it's not giving it its due. But Ken has I don't know how else to describe it. He has written a manual for home defense with some tactical type skills that he thinks are important. And we were talking about that with him. And one of the things we had mentioned was physical fitness and how for most of us that's our first hurdle. You know, we have to work on our physical fitness. And we were trying to figure out what a standard would be that we should be striving for as maybe not quite as vital men as we were when we were younger. And Rob took the idea and ran with it, and he came up with a standard that I thought was pretty good.
Well said. Took the idea and ran with it. That was good. I don't know if you did that on purpose or not.
Yeah, pun intended.
Good.
So, what was the standard you came up with? What test did you decide to set for yourself?
Well, I don't know if it could be called a standard, and I'm certainly not the poster child for physical fitness anymore. Now, years ago, different story. I'm one of those guys that, you know, the older I get, the better I was. But long time ago, yeah, I was in top shape. I was living up in the mountains at about 10,000 feet in Breckenridge, Colorado, and I would run 5 to 8 to 10 miles. Yeah, usually 10, but 5 to 8 miles every day up there.
Wow, at 10,000 feet.
Yeah, yeah, I was in great shape. And then I moved back to West Texas where I grew up, and running is boring out there, and I mean boring with a capital B. It's just blah. But I've always kind of tried to stay a little bit in shape. And so, yeah, Zach and Ken were talking about how an average guy, should be able to go out and run or walk a mile with a 20-pound pack in 12 minutes. And Happy Hair and I do a lot of walking. I mean, we do. We'll go around our block because where we live, all the roads are laid out in grids, mostly half mile by half mile, grids. And so all the way around the block, if you want to call it that, is 2 miles. And we walk at a pretty good clip. We don't usually slow down unless, I mean, I usually have a rifle slung up, and sometimes I'll shoot a coyote or, something like that. But that'd be the only stop we would make. And it usually takes us about 40 to 45 minutes at a fast paced walk. And so when he said 12 miles walking with a pack, I'm like, bullcrap. I don't think so. And so I decided to do it. I'm like, okay, I'm that dumb guy that'll, I'll try anything. So what I did was I got a 15-pound pack. It was a pack that was already had some stuff in it, and it had 15 pounds. I weighed it to be sure. And then I slung up my rifle, which is, you probably can't see it back behind me over there in a hotel room. I'm that guy. But that rifle weighs right at 10 pounds. So I had 25 pounds. And I did a combination of a walk and a run. I started off running 100 steps, walk 100 steps, run 100 steps, walk 100 steps, just because I knew it had been a while since I'd done that. It took me 17 minutes. And I kept up a pretty.
Wow. Well, I appreciate your confidence in my discipline and motivation, sir. But you would be mistaken. I have not done it yet. I intend to do it. I intended to do it last week. I intended to do it before. I've intended to do it since the topic came up with Ken, and
Yeah.
still have not done it yet. So I got to travel for work this next week, or I would probably try to do it this next week. But I thought we said 20 minutes. I don't think we said 12 minutes. I
Yeah.
think you're right. I think 12 minutes would be.
Yeah. No,
insane.
12 minutes was the number that Ken put out there. Now, I guess I could be wrong. If it's 20 minutes, I'm going to feel a lot better about myself.
Yeah.
But
Well, I thought we had talked about 20 minutes because we used to hour in the floor with weight,
Yeah.
with full weight.
Exactly.
With 20 minutes a mile, but that was with full weight. So I was thinking that if you had like 20 pounds, even as an old man, you should be able to do a mile in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Or that should be a goal, I guess.
Yeah. 20 minutes would be no big deal. Running, I'm not as good of a runner as I used to be, but I can walk all day. When Christy and I were in Ireland, and that's a subject we'll be getting to in a little bit, we walked one day in Dublin. We put in 11 miles walking just, to get to different places. And so walking for us is no big deal. In fact, we were somewhat inebriated coming back on the way back at the end of that walk. And still, mate, I know I'm so ashamed, but yeah.
You're going to have to leave the Baptist church.
Well, or I'll set them straight. We weren't going to talk a lot about religion, but I can put a bunch of verses in why drinking. I've got a sermon I'm willing to do at church. They won't let me, but it's why drinking and cussing and gambling are not sins. They're all okay.
Yeah.
So I don't get asked to do that one.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. But yeah, maybe we can. The only thing I don't want to do tonight is I've been doing so much Roman Catholic stuff lately that I need to take a step back. I have just gotten obsessed with the Roman Church, and it's gotten a little unhealthy. So I need to reel it back in from.
Well, I will help you with that. I will help you reel it back. We'll avoid such topics for the most part, and I'm one of those guys. I love talking about all the stuff you're not supposed to talk about, but I don't get upset. Some people, that's the problem. Some people get all worked up and mad and foaming at the mouth when they talk about it. I enjoy learning what other people think and why they think it. I really do. Doesn't mean I agree with them, but I like hearing it.
So before we leave this physical fitness thing, do you think that that's a reasonable standard, or do you think it should be harder?
What, the 20 minutes?
Well, I guess I should. Let me ask you this: what do you think the standard should be?
I'm sure it depends on the age. I know even in the military they have different age levels broken into different, standards and all like that.
Mhm.
For me, I don't even know if you know how old I am, Zach. I'm older than you. I'm pretty sure you know that. But and what are you, Zach? I'm gonna go ahead and ask you. What, 47? Is that right?
I'm 50. I
Are
just
you
turned
50
50.
now? Boy,
Yeah.
you're almost the same age as Happy Hair. She was born in
Oh, really?
'73. Yeah.
Oh,
So how
okay.
about that? Yeah, I'll be 67 in May,
You
and so
cradle robbing son of a gun.
yeah, guilty.
Sam, are you on
I,
the Epstein client list?
I, Not yet, as far as I know.
You
uh,
running around with these young things like
uh, well, yeah,
no
and I.
no no wonder you can do a mile in 17 minutes. You gotta chase them off that young thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Stories I could tell. Well, one of the shows, we're here. We're in another subject we'll get to. We're here in San Angelo, Texas, America, and she's doing one of her shows that she does with her hair clips and stuff. And it's been some years ago. We were in Florida, and her and I were there, and one of my daughters was there, and we got set up and all like that. And then the next day, I was there by myself, and the person across from me said something about being there with my daughter, and I was like, "Yeah, that's right." And then I thought about it. I'm like, "Wait a minute, which one are you thinking is my daughter?" And they mentioned Christy, and I'm like, "Oh,"
Oh,
I'm like, "Boy, that cuts a little bit."
yeah, that one hurts. I
Yeah.
one of well, both of my sons just joined the Corps here recently,
Mm,
and one of them's at boot camp right now. And so we've got this big family group chat, which you can imagine with a family my size, a group chat can get a little out of hand.
I'll bet.
And we're just sharing information about where to send him letters, to get him because we just got his address. Uh, so we were sharing all that, and I was like, "Well, that doesn't make sense. That's not how we did it when I was there." And my daughter comes back and says, "Dad, that was 30 years ago."
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
"You know what? You're disinherited. I
That's
hope I
exactly
get
right.
money so I can not leave it to you."
Yeah. That's the thing, Zach. I mean, we don't think about it. I remember, oh God, man, when we were young, we'd look at somebody in their 60s and think they were ancient, ancient,
Oh
you
yeah.
know? And but now it's like, okay, I don't always feel as old as I am. I will say mirrors are not my friend, neither are video cameras. Um, but I don't feel that old. I never felt like I was getting old until I hit 60. That was the year I lost my girls, and they had brought me out a birthday cake. My birthday's at the end of May, and so it was about 2 months before that happened. And they brought me out a birthday cake, and it was cool. But the first number on that cake was a 6, and I was like, "That's an old person number." I'm like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
and
I
it caught me off guard.
When I turned 50 this year, I was like, "This is huge! Oh my God, we're in a new era. There's no excuses anymore. I gotta get my shit together.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't even pretend to be a teenager anymore."
No, exactly, exactly. I do the work I do is pretty physical. I think that's one of the things that's kept me in pretty good shape. I will say that of all the guys I graduated high school with, I'm younger than all except maybe one. And by younger, I mean, well, actually, physically younger or gear wise younger, but not a lot. But younger looking, can do more, healthier, that kind of thing than all except maybe one other guy out of my class. But I remember when I was 55 was the first time it hit me that I was maybe getting old. Some of the work I do electrical work, and my customers are feedlots and grain elevators and stuff like that. And I don't know if you know much about that, but one of the things that's predominant there is they have these big, tall towers that
Mhm.
have belts in them that move the grain. They lift it out from the bottom with buckets on a belt, and it dumps into the top and then flows out to where it needs to go. And some of them are, a little over 200 feet tall. And so I climb those sometimes doing that. Well, this one was 178 feet, I think it was at that feedlot that's next to my house. I've done a couple of little videos from. I think it's a 65,000 head feedlot,
Mhm.
and I was doing work up there, and I had to carry tools and parts and stuff like that. Took 3 trips, and halfway up the third trip, I had to stop and rest. And
Mm.
I was like, "Whoa!" I'm getting tired. That doesn't usually happen. And I realized, I guess I'm starting to get a little older, and it was sobering, but I pushed through it. But then, that was 11 years ago now. And so I'm like, yeah, so I don't know, but I'm fighting it. I'm trying to, in fact, here at the hotel today, I'm in the office. I'm going to pick up my phone. I won't be able to get it right. Here's what I'm doing. I am sitting, I'm doing paperwork, got 2 computers going and all kinds of stuff I'm working on because I suck at doing paperwork in the first place. And especially when I'm sitting in my office, I can think of 100 other things I could be doing. I knew I wasn't going to be able to get my phone back up right. I shouldn't have touched it. Okay, maybe that's okay. And so I do paperwork in here. Well, I got to a stopping point. I finished up another year's worth, catching up on past years. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to treat myself. And I went down to the fitness room down there and got on I don't even know what the thing is. It's some kind of deal you pedal on while you're standing on it. It's got the wheels that move back and forth. And yeah, whatever that is. So I did that and then lifted some weights. And so I'll be probably good and sore tomorrow. But all that to say,
we got to stop for a second and tell Les happy birthday.
Who?
Les.
Oh, hey,
Les and Sharon. They're one of Ow,
dude,
that's hot. I've got a metal ashtray, and I keep it on top of the wood stove. And I just went to grab it to bring it over. And I didn't think that went through. So, Les, happy birthday, brother.
Yeah, for sure. Happy birthday. How old is Les?
He said 64 yesterday.
See, so I'm the oldest guy in the room again. No, I'm not. I know another guy in the chat, if he's still here, that's older than I am. Lives close to you. I won't call his name.
Oh, so, well, yeah, I know him too.
Yeah, you do.
We already called his name.
Yeah, we did.
He's old as dirt.
He probably remembers when there wasn't dirt.
Yeah. He was standing there and he said, "Who's saying let there be light?" What's light?
He'll probably respond to that. I feel like
see. He may have already gotten bored and gone somewhere else.
He may have. He's a busy boy. He's got lots of stuff going on all the time.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway.
And Crystal, we have a female in the chat. Crystal women.
We got
women
2.
Never come to my channel. She must be here for you.
We got at least two women in the chat.
Crystal, Rob only likes like super young women. So if you're over the age of 20, he's probably not interested.
That's bad. But we make jokes all the time. Christy's like, yeah, so I guess you were like a senior in high school? I thought, gee, I'll go down to the hospital and see what's in the delivery room for me.
Yeah. Go check out.
Yeah.
Who am I going to date in 18 years?
I'm glad we can have a good time with it. There's times when I'm like, man, how did that happen?
All right, so back we got off on young women.
Oh, there we go.
He completely forgot what we were talking about.
The old guy responded. He put, yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Yes. We're easily distracted by good cigars, good bourbon, and young women. That's a
what
man
was that
thing.
old? That was that old song that was young when our buddy C103 was already old.
Poor Mark.
What is it? Faster
cars,
faster horses, younger
women, and
older whiskey, more money.
That's it. George, I think it was George Jones, wasn't it?
I can't remember. It's just a great song. I don't know. I don't remember who did it, but yeah, it's faster horses, younger women, older whiskey, more money.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife just posted. I was 4 when he graduated from high school. Thank you for
that. That's just disgusting,
isn't it?
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I am.
Yeah, you look it. You just look like you're mortified.
Yeah, it worked out for me. Whatever else.
So, I guess what I was wanting your opinion on is
the standard. Yes, is that a good standard?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Thank you for dialing us back in there. I don't know, Zach. I think it is. I mean, honestly, if I can do it in 17 minutes at my age, younger guys should be able to do it quicker. Now, Ken was talking about some dude that had a double lung replacement and did it quicker than I did. Maybe,
Oh,
but
yeah.
that's. I mean, honestly, I'm not. I'm no track star, but I kept up a good pace on that. I sent you the video of it, and you
Yeah.
could see. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I think what I did should be a minimum standard for sure. Honestly, I should be able to do it faster than that. If I had run the whole thing, I could have done it faster. But I let myself get old and out of shape. So I'm
I
working on that.
I think I'm going to do a video. I keep saying I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do it, and I never do
Yeah,
the videos.
yeah, same.
But kind of talking about this issue and maybe coming up with a weight. I like 20 pounds, but I might need to think of something that people can. Not everyone's got 20 pounds of weight sitting around. Like I don't have 20 pounds of weight
Are
sitting
you? I
around.
mean, you can stick jugs of water in it. I mean, it ain't hard to get to 20 pounds in a backpack. And I think they should. I think carrying a rifle should be part of the deal too. Because if you're out doing something like that, you should have a rifle slung up.
So the only reason why I wouldn't use that standard is because you're back east. Even you can freak people out. Wandering around with a rifle.
Oh,
Uh, uh, we're not quite as free as we pretend we are. Even here where I'm at, out in the country, the game warden might go, eh?
hmm.
Because
I guess I am in a pretty good part of the country. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely nobody thinks twice about seeing somebody out with a gun.
uh,
Yeah, they don't. Happy here, they don't blink an eye.
but I
Mhm.
like that
Correct.
idea of like so two 2 gallons of water is 16 pounds,
Yep.
and that's something everyone could do, even if you just kept milk jugs and
Get,
filled 2 milk jugs.
yep. Exactly.
Uh, or you could even do three, but three would be a little hard. Could be harder to carry. Uh, but yeah, if we said 2 gallons of water in a pack, just that's just a weight everyone
Mm-hmm.
can come up with,
Yeah.
and then maybe some kind of a progression. Find what that minimum should be, and then maybe come up with a couple steps to work someone up to that minimum. Either with shorter distances or longer times, or maybe even both.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that would be of value.
And you know what? That's good thinking on your part. I'll jump into something hard and try it right away and not get discouraged, whatever. But a lot of people need to have shorter, easier goals to attain so they can feel like they did something and not be too discouraged.
Yeah. Well, if you're talking to someone and who's just let things get away from them,
Yeah.
and suddenly the weight's crept up and they haven't
Yep.
done anything in a long time, and yeah, and then suddenly some other guys are standing around saying, "Oh no, if you can't do,
Right.
then and people can get discouraged, and there's like you said, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, start
You bet.
start
You
slow,
bet. Anything is better than nothing in that kind of deal.
anything."
Anything. I mean, even just going out and walking is a great thing to do. I mean, a few little. I, so I've done it several times. I've been in like top shape, and then I get out of shape because I get lazy, and then I get back in shape. And whenever I do it, I know how it works. I got to do. I don't go out and run 2 miles right away. I'll go out and I'll do the 100 steps running, 100 steps walking, and within a week or two, I'm back up into pretty good shape again. I mean, I'm blessed in that way that I've always been able to get back in shape pretty quick.
That's cool. I honestly have not. I was doing really good with my push-ups for a while.
Yeah.
And something happened, and I don't remember what, and I let the push-ups go, and I haven't done them in probably 6 months. And I had worked my way up to around 40, uh, but 40 really really good ones, like really really good
Mm-hmm.
technique at a slow pace, and all the way
Mm-hmm.
down, all the way up,
Yep.
and I felt really good about it. And then I'm probably back down to 15 now because I haven't done them in
Sure.
so long, and at age 50, if you don't do it, it goes away on you.
And I'm going to tell you what else is that to be ready for, something I didn't think about. I've still got the muscle. I've got the muscles are willing, but the joints are weak, you know?
Crystal, control yourself.
Yeah, it's the truth, man. I go out to lift. I've got the strength, but I go to lift. I put a bunch of weight on the bar, like doing a bench press or something, or an overhead press.
Mm-hmm.
The muscles are fine, but my shoulders are like, nah, man, we ain't doing it. And I don't know how to fix that. Muscles I know how to fix.
Look at C103 here in the chat.
When my That's why we love him.
Yeah. Wisdom is 1 mile in 2 minutes in a side-by-side.
Yes, sir.
C103 is going to be riding the chase vehicle, picking up the stragglers.
I was going to say he'll be on collection duty.
Yeah. He's going to pick up the sick, lame, and lazy. I do think that would be a valuable bit of information to put out there, you know. Hey, you know, do a half mile with no weight in blah, you know, whatever. Let's say the 10 minutes, you know. And then would you say add distance before weight or add weight before distance?
I would think distance before weight.
Yeah.
Because you put the weight on, you can't go any distance. You're going to get discouraged. You know, yeah. Go walking. Don't carry anything but maybe a little bottle of water or something when you go.
So my question there, and it is a question, is if someone was doing like they'd worked their way up to the mile with no weight, and then they added the weight. I guess you would advocate for adding small amounts of weight. I was thinking if they added the weight and suddenly had to fall back to say the half mile when they have been doing a mile, but now suddenly they got weight, so now they're doing a half mile.
That's a good point.
That might feel like going backwards.
Correct. Boy, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point, Zach. It's hard to know what things will motivate people and what things will discourage people, isn't it?
Yeah, and there doesn't have to be one way to do it. I mean,
no,
people can do whatever they want.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think we should put that out.
I got to believe, yeah. I mean, you look like you're in pretty good shape. You know, you're a younger guy. You're not fat. You're still, slender and lean. So you got it going on that way. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A pretty good average.
Yeah.
11.5 now.
Right.
But I wear boots, so that gets me my last little inch. That's the man's high heels right there.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah. But so like I'm a little above 5'11". I'm right at 200 pounds, so I'm pretty average as far as physicality goes.
Yeah.
So if I could do it, that's probably not a bad standard to set.
Yeah, I think so. I keep looking over at the chat here. There's not a lot of chat, but I keep seeing C103's response to us there, and I'm like, yeah, that's funny. I've never met him in person, but I can tell what's going to happen. Someday I'll meet him in person. I'll be like, hey, dude, how good to meet you, and get punched right in the mouth. It's like, oh man, I had that coming.
Nah, C103 is a gentle giant. He's a big old boy. I bet he's 6'5", 6'6".
That's what Ade said. He said he's a big old boy.
And he's got one of the best beards you'll ever see on a man. We're getting accused of being sausage lovers in the chat for some reason.
What?
So my my effusive description of C-103's physical attributes is probably not helping my case here. But yeah, he's got the best beard you've ever seen on him, man.
What was that line out of the movie? Prettiest man I ever saw.
But yeah, if he did decide to swing on you, I would advise ducking.
Oh,
But,
yeah, and stepping way back.
Yeah, but I don't know what it would take to make him swing on you. But apparently, you're going to be able to run away from him as long as he's not near a side by side. So say whatever you want.
Yeah, I wouldn't be ashamed of that, huh?
If you see him pulling up in a side by side, though, just be real polite.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir. No, sir.
I told somebody the other day, I don't think I absorb a punch as well as I used to. But the truth is, I probably do absorb a punch. I just don't heal up from it as well as I used to.
Yeah, I bet my face caves in around it real nice. I got
Good grief.
It had been a long time since I had been in a dust up. But I can't remember if this was 2 years ago or 3 years ago now. But it was Veterans Day, and the Veterans Day can get a little wild, especially for Marines, because the Marine Corps birthday is the day before, and that's a big deal. And then Veterans Day is the next day,
right?
And so they had fallen on a Friday and a Saturday, and I had gone out with a buddy for the Marine Corps birthday, and then for Veterans Day that night I went over to the VFW. And so I was already feeling my oats a little bit.
Yeah, nothing ever goes bad at the VFW.
Yeah, nothing bad ever happens at the VFW. But I was way too old for this to have happened. It was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, so I was 47, 48. But some old boy had they let anybody in now because there just not as many veterans anymore. So anyone, and they kind of really always did. But
yeah, they have.
But this old boy was in there, and he was just one of those. He was just telling every lie in the book. I was a sniper. I was just, and it's one of those guys. You can just tell he's lying. As a veteran, and any veteran can tell you, you hate that when you see it because, like, you've only got one or two choices. You either go along with this bullshit or you can cause a scene.
Yeah.
But everyone was just kind of ignoring him because he was just drunk, and he wasn't really being malicious. He was just drunk, and he was having a great time, and he wasn't really bothering anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But he got too far drunk, and he got mean, and he decided that the post commander was hitting on his girlfriend.
Okay.
And the post commander was also a little drunk, but he was not hitting on the guy's girlfriend. He was just kind of like doing his job. Are you a member of the VFW?
I'm not.
Okay. So the post commander is kind of like a host. And he was just doing his job, going around and, backslapping and all this stuff. And this old boy just decided that my phone is not charging. I'm going to have to figure something out here in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
And this old boy decided that the post commander was hitting on his girlfriend. So he starts going after him, trying to start a fight. And the post commander's a nice guy, but he's Air Force, and it's just not his thing. So I thought I was going to be able to intervene because I've got a little bit of a presence. I can turn on the big boy voice when I want to turn on the big boy voice. And this guy was clearly full of shit. So I figured he'd never got the knife hand. Square yourself. So I went over there and got in between him and started, I thought, talking him down. And this old boy just was not going to be talked down. He was just spun up, and he ended up swinging. And he wasn't swinging at me, I don't think. I think he was swinging at the post commander, because the post commander, once I got in between them, he kind of, found a little bit of aggression that had been missing previously. And so he kind of started chirping back at the guy. And so I'm like in the middle, and this one's behind me, and this one. So he swings at me, but I mean, he swings at the post commander behind me, but all I see is this fist coming at me. And I started swinging at the guy. I hit him 3 or 4 times on the way to the ground, just bloodied his nose.
Yeah.
It looked awful.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend starts wailing. I can't remember what the guy's name was now, but I think it was Kevin or something like that. But she starts wailing like a banshee. Like she sounds like a banshee, and she throws herself on top of him because he went straight to the ground. I mean, I hit him all the way to the ground, and it looked pretty bad because there was blood everywhere. And she's like covering with his body, and she's looking up at me with this like enraged face, like I'm dealing with some kind of otherworldly creature,
Yeah.
and she's screeching, just won't stop screeching over and over and over. And I was so it was I can't describe it. I was just in a weird headspace, and I wanted her to shut. She had to shut up. She had to shut up if she,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I actually grabbed her and I pulled back, and I was just going to cold cock the shit out of her. Literally, I was just going to just start
Right.
punching her in the face. And by the
Yeah.
grace of God, I don't know what stopped me, but I stopped. So I grabbed her and I grabbed him and I dragged them both outside. I just threw them out the door and I said, "Go away." And they stayed out there for 45 minutes. That woman wailing, screeching at the
Oh,
top of her voice over and
man.
over and over.
Wow.
And 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 finally the cops come.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, that's quick response.
no, yeah, it was about 45 minutes. And I hear bang, 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 huge cop knock on the door, which in the old days would have never happened. Yeah, in the old days, the VFW was politically untouchable. If something happened at the VFW and someone called the cops, the sheriff would call down to the VFW and he wouldn't send his boys out till he talked to the post commander, like, "Hey, do you need us?" Or the sheriff actually probably would have been in the VFW, to be honest with you.
Uh-huh.
But you just didn't mess with the VFW. So these cops are cop knocking on the door, and I was just like,
Cop knocking.
no, no. So I kind of throw the door open, and there's cops out there. Open up, open up. This door flies open. Rob, I kid you not. This kid could not have been more than 20. He was about 5'6", and if he weighed 120 pounds, then I am no judge of man flesh.
Oh, man.
This was a tiny little guy.
Huh.
One of those guys whose hips might have been as broad as his shoulders,
Uh-huh.
and and his backup was a woman.
Of course it was.
I, I was just looking at him thinking, you are got to be out of your mind, young man. So I invited him in. I was like, "Yeah, y'all come in, fine, whatever." And he starts arresting the post commander. And I said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 hang on." The post commander didn't even hit. I'm the one who hit the guy. What are you? And the cop was like, "Well, Mr. Austin, I'm about to give my last name out."
Yeah.
There went OPSEC. It sounds like you swung in self-defense, and it sounds like the post commander sort of antagonized the situation. It's not a big deal. We're just going to arrest them both. What it boiled down to is it was a fine. They were just going to be able to fine them both. Is what
Okay.
it boiled down to. But yeah. So at 47, 48 years of old, I got into what I hope was my last fist fight.
Yeah, I understand. I'm amazed that I haven't been in a fight in quite some time, and I'm amazed that I haven't because I'm kind of a hothead, and I don't intend to be. Well, I guess no hot. I don't know. Maybe some that I guess that would define a hothead, not somebody that just kind of blows up. Because I've done that lots of times, and most of the time always skated through. Not always, but yeah, I don't at my age I do not need to be getting into fist fights, especially with younger dudes, because that's not going to go well.
Mm-mm.
Probably.
Mm-mm.
Maybe, of course, good grief, Zach, a lot of the younger dudes don't know nothing about fighting. I see some of the
That is
videos
true.
where they're fighting and they're hitting like a woman hits, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, and they're doing nothing. They're like, wham. Yeah, they know
They're
nothing
hurting
about
themselves
it.
more than they're hurting who they're hitting.
Correct. But either way, though, I don't need to be there. I don't need the legal troubles, and I don't need the potential medical problems that might come with that. So, yeah, I need to be more mellow in my old age.
Yeah,
I guess.
we all do.
Yeah, for sure.
We all do. Because I'm probably like as physically strong as I've ever been.
Yeah,
Within reason. I mean, I was in the Marines, for crying out loud. I was probably a little stronger back then.
probably.
But for the most part, I'm as strong. But I'll get out of breath, and I just don't have the stamina anymore.
Sure.
And I don't have the. This is what surprised me. My balance is not. It's not like I'm just like falling down all the time, but I'm not as confident in my balance as I used to be when I was younger.
Well, now that's an interesting observation.
You know, I just don't feel. Like if work, I would do physical work too. My phone is not charging. I wonder why. So I mean, I do physical work. I spend a lot of time on ladders and roofs and stuff.
Yep.
And it 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 doesn't like bother me because I've done it for years. And but I can just tell I'm not as confident as I used to be. I've got to move slower. I got to
Sure.
watch where I'm placing my feet.
Sure.
And I just don't have the kind. Sometimes I have to sit down slide on my butt like a toddler. That's the biggest change I've noticed is that I just not as nimble and light on my feet as I feel like I used to be.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, I get that. I've still got pretty good dexterity. I've still got pretty good balance. Every once in a while, I'll just get a little bit carried away. Once in a while, I'll not set a ladder right and have it come out from under me, or I'll use a pallet for a ladder instead of a ladder. And I'll have to tell you about that. I had to dig a punji spike out of my leg here recently, about that size. I had to take a knife. Well, now see, there I'm touching stuff again. Anyway, yeah, I've got the knife here. I had to actually cut my leg open a little bit and get the thing out because I was stupid, And I just, I tend to hurt myself quite a bit, but never real serious. I blew myself up a few weeks ago, and just stuff like that. I don't know, But anyway, so I want to talk about the revolting man. I almost blew some opsec there for you. I want to talk about Zach, the revolting man, with his Texas heritage.
So everyone wants to act like they're from Texas because you guys are so cool. My family actually does go pretty far back in Texas.
Yeah, apparently.
So my great,
I got to believe it's at least two greats.
Yeah, my great grandfather was. We don't know this for sure. We have found his name on a roster list from the Civil War.
Yeah.
So I feel fairly confident saying this, but this isn't 100%. But there's good evidence that he was a drummer boy in the Civil War.
Hey, that is way cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The family heritage was actually in extreme Southwest Virginia, way up in the mountains. There's still a town up there with our last name, or a community.
Nice.
But his family had left there and gone to Kentucky, and so he appears to have fought with a Kentucky regiment in the war, and after the war he went west. It just goes all the way to West Texas. To that area. It's Sanko is the little community, and it's like you said. You were telling me it's outside of Robert E. Lee or Robert Lee?
Robert Lee, just Robert Lee. Mm-hmm.
Right outside of Robert Lee, Texas, and back then it was still Comanche territory.
Yep, you betcha.
So this would have been like 1865, 1866.
Yep.
And he started a sheep ranch out there.
Makes sense. That's that kind of country.
Or was it a goat ranch?
Maybe goats, because goats are a big deal around this part of the world.
I think it was goats. Mm-hmm. I think what my great uncle told me was that he raised the goats for that was his business, but he actually had sheep for kind of like his hobby. He had goats and sheep, but I think the goats were what was putting meat on the table.
Sure, makes sense. Goats can thrive in conditions around here. Lots of prickly pear, lots of mesquite. Not a lot to eat. Depends on if they get rain or not. And goats can deal with it. Sheep have a little more trouble. Cattle, boy, it's tough. You got a lot of land to raise cattle, but goats, yeah, can do it.
Okay. So anyway, he goes back to Kentucky and marries his cousin, which probably explains a lot. Uh, and brings his cousin and her brother back out to West Texas out there, and starts a family. The brother-in-law doesn't stay very long. He either dies or leaves. But so his son ends up being the first white baby boy born in the county, and so they name him after the guy who the county was named after, which is it's Coke County, Texas.
Uh-huh.
And so Coke is still a family name. I actually one of my sons has Coke as a middle name.
I can't even tell you how cool of a story that is, brother. That's great.
Well, thank you. Unfortunately, my grandfather fights in World War II in the Navy, and there's something wrong with my phone. Either this thing is it says that it's plugged in, but it is not charging. I'm losing power. My grandfather was in the Navy in World War II, had 5 ships blown out from underneath him.
Go mad.
At one point, spent a couple of days in the water.
How about that?
Yeah, I used to know all 5 ships. We've got it's a miniature life preserver. Apparently, they would give it to. It was like the Navy wouldn't give it to you, but like it was guys would buy it when they'd been in a shipwreck, and it had the name of all 5 ships on there that had sunk. He had been sunk on, and he didn't come back okay. You know, he had some problems, and he ends up leaving the farm, and he moved to Chicago, and he spent 10 years in Chicago, and then he went back to West Texas, and he left a few things behind in Chicago, namely my father and my uncle. It was just a forgetfulness thing. He just forgot they were there. So my father actually grew up in Chicago before he came back south to Georgia. So there's a little break there in that legacy. So I don't know what that makes me or not, but that was the family, 3 generations.
That is pretty cool, though. Hey, Jack, are you a member of Sons of Confederate Veterans?
So here's the funny part.
Okay.
You know, Kentucky split 2 ways in
Yep.
the war.
Yep.
And so I actually haven't done the research to find out if that Kentucky regiment was a Confederate regiment or not.
Okay.
Because they lived up in the mountains, and the mountain folks tended, when they split, they tended to split towards the Union instead of the Confederacy.
Uh-huh.
So I need to do some research and see which way he went. I would like to join the Sons of Confederacy if
I am here. I'm going to see if I can put this up here. So I got to watch the other screen because I can't on the phone. I cannot see myself. I have to look on the laptop. Is that showing?
I can't read it on my screen, but I think other people could.
Yeah, it's a Happy Hair is doing the gun show here in town, and so one of the booths in there, of course, is the SCV booth, Sons of Confederate Veterans booth. And I stopped by and talked to them a couple of days ago, and they gave me this coin to take. It's just a plastic coin, but still, it's a good organization, and I'm glad to be part of it.
Cool.
I got in 2018, 2017. I don't remember which now, but yeah. Now that's
so.
A cool story.
Which ancestor was in the war, and what did he do?
I actually had 2 or 3 ancestors. None of them did anything spectacular, but a great grandfather, and then a great one of his other somebody else. They were. One of them was in the 1st Alabama Regiment, and the other one was I think in the 1st Mississippi. I can't remember one. Then I had several that were actually on the side of the Confederacy, and none of them owned slaves. And so, there's that stupid argument out the window.
Yeah. What a lot of people, and we don't want to probably dig into all of this, but what a lot of people don't know is that it was a point of pride for guys in the Confederacy to not be what they called slavers.
Yeah. Yeah.
There would be whole battalions and regiments where people who supported slavery were not allowed. Now, and we got to be careful with this. The Articles of Confederation, they mentioned slavery 34 times. You know, we can't act like slavery wasn't an issue. It absolutely was an issue.
Yeah, but in the Constitution of the Confederacy, I'm going to get it wrong. I want to say Article. I always want to say Article 2, but I think it's Article 5. It mentioned slavery was on the way out. It really was. Even in the Confederacy, it was on the way out. It was written in there that there would be no more importation of black people for the purpose of slavery permitted. Slavery was done. It was on the way out. The War of Northern Aggression had zero to do with slavery until Lincoln made it so. Even Woodrow Wilson, I think it was Woodrow Wilson, was talking about it once, and he's like, it wasn't about slavery, but they had to make it so to try and take the moral high ground for what they were doing. It's a long, deep subject, and I wish it, you know, I don't. Southerners will never be able to completely get past it, but we're willing to let it go. After the Civil War, the North and the South became friends again. The Union allowed the Southern soldiers, the soldiers of the Confederacy, to receive their military pensions from fighting against them. I mean, they realized it was a done deal, and they got it figured out. It's like Charlie Daniels said: "We may do a little fighting amongst ourselves, but you outsiders need to leave us alone." You know.
So they did. Congress passed a law that all Confederate veterans were actually American veterans. So your Confederate service counted as American military service.
Correct.
I do think that we should be careful about minimizing the slavery aspect. It was there, and I don't.
Sure, and
I don't
it
think
still
we
is.
should hide from it.
Yeah, in other parts of the world, it's still there. It's awful.
Right.
It shouldn't be that way, but it's a fact of life. They just used that in a way that they shouldn't have. I mean, the slaves came from the northern states to begin with. It was the slave trade, the ship owners out of Boston and Norfolk and Providence that brought them over, but then it was a bad deal. We wish it hadn't happened, but it did. So anyway,
the part that irritates me is when the North acts like their part of the war was about slavery. My phone is going to die on me because it won't charge. I don't know if there's something wrong with this charger or what.
Maybe do you have another charger? Go grab another charger.
Well, I've actually only got the one.
Let
me double check it up here where I got it plugged in.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
make sure that
the North would not have done all that for slavery.
Correct. Lincoln did not give a damn about black people. I mean, he just didn't.
Yeah. So, but we also did. Well, I didn't. My people were too poor, and yours probably were too. But as a culture down here, we did participate in the sin of man stealing, and that is a sin in the Old Testament when you participate in slavery. That's not. It carries the penalty of death in the law.
Okay, I don't know that part of it. That I'm not as good on the Old Testament as I am New Testament. To me, Old Testament is a book of history and the way things were, and I don't have some of the same beliefs in Old Testament customs and traditions that you do. So I don't have the knowledge of that you would.
But you would probably still look to the Old Testament as a source for moral law. Like you would look at the Ten Commandments and say that those are still in effect.
Oh, sure, yeah. Almost all of them, except I think one, are still replicated in Jesus' teachings in the New Testament, without getting too far into religion. But yeah,
right,
yeah. When I was,
it'd be a fun topic, but we don't have to.
Oh yeah. Yeah, when I was at Shofar Mountain a couple of years ago, I stayed most of a week with Joe and Kate up there, and we talked about a lot of that stuff. And he would, I asked honest questions. He gave honest answers. It was a great visit. He's a neat guy.
Yeah, they're good.
Kate is a sweetheart, man. She's just wonderful.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Joe was a good guy too. But yeah, it was a great visit there, and he knew I didn't necessarily agree with everything, but neither of us had any issues talking about what we thought and me asking questions. And so, yeah, that was the kind of discussion I really enjoyed.
So I'm assuming you would say the Sabbath isn't still in effect. Is that the one that you would say probably isn't still active?
Oh, there. Uh, yes, I don't see that. When I look at the New Testament and what the first century Christians did, we have example is that they were getting together on the first day of the week, which is not the seventh day of the week. You know,
Right.
I don't. I honestly, I don't think it makes a difference. I think, Jesus put it real good when he was talking to the Pharisees. It came down to two things: love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. And that pretty much that sums up everything. And then there's some other details that come into play. There's different things. Boy, it's easy to slip into religious debate and talk, isn't it?
Especially for old men. The older you get,
Yeah,
the more you're like, oh no, this is the important stuff, brother. Let's talk about the
yeah,
important stuff.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I'm gonna take us off of that right quick because we will get you and me both, man. We'll get because you're not. I got to tell you, I don't know. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago in your live stream with Ken. Your knowledge of Greek was better than I thought it would be, and I was impressed by that. I like Greek. Back in about 2000 and man, I don't know, 20 years ago, somewhere like that. I was like, okay, the New Testament was written in Greek. I want to know what the Greek says so that I can see what it says and not have to listen to what somebody tells me it says. And so I taught myself to be able to read Greek, might be the wrong way to put it, but at least to be able to read in Greek and transliterate it into English so that I would know what it's doing. And you are locked up. I hope your phone didn't just die. Oh, this is troubling. Are we fixing to have to restart the stream? Zach, don't leave me now. Ah, boy, this is good. Well, everybody, I don't. Nope, the screen just went blank. It may be done. I'm still here. Apparently, I can hear it coming across my wife's computer over there. So I'm going to be a one-man show here for a minute while Zach figures it out. My guess is the stream's going to get cut off here in a second and restarted while he figures out how to get his phone going again. Look over here. There's some fairly good side chat going on. Um, Somebody's uncle got shot in the head with dimples and mouth. Man, yeah, yeah. Back across the top. Yeah. Um, I'm kind of not sure what to do here. This is not my stream, and yet I'm the only one here. Well, we had lots of other good stuff to talk about. We were going to talk about my trip to Ireland and how Zach kind of helped me get in touch with a guy that's over there that's a friend of mine now, real good friend of mine. My wife and I spent a couple of days with him back in May when we were there. I just got a text from Zach. His phone is died. Um, Maybe he can get it recharged again. But we were going to talk about Ireland. We were going to talk about everyday carry and traveling prepared, and when you're staying in a motel room, how to be prepared. And we didn't get into any of that because we were having too much fun. I feel like he's going to figure out a way to get his phone charged, and he'll be back here in a second. He said he got it turned back on, but he wants to see if it's actually going to charge. I hope it does because this is a good stream. This is a good time, and I wasn't planning on doing this solo, so maybe he'll figure it out. Yeah, there's a bunch of y'all in the chat I don't know. I wish I did. So, do you want? He said, "Do you want to try again? If it is, let me send him a text right quick and let him know. If I can do this. Yes. Okay, let me get back. Okay, maybe I'm still back now. It may have paused. Well, okay, yeah, it paused while I was texting him. So yeah, still going. So anyway, he's working on getting back. This has never happened to me before, so I'm not real sure. Ah, that's funny. Ooh, John Q. Public. I had to replace a fuel pump in my 2012 Chevy the other day. $1,500 for that stupid thing. They had to take the bed off to get to it. Friggin' engineers, man. If I could count moons, I would, but it stirs us when someone hears Jesus is God. Okay, good. Zach, I'm chatting in my own stream that I'm not in. My goodness. Yeah, yeah. Aid, yes, it was a good weekend, Aid. Aid was the one that got me the invite up to Joe and Kate's at Shofar Mountain and got to visit with them. So he gets credit for that for sure. That was a good trip. It was a good trip. Good people. Good people. And it's the kind of thing I don't have to agree with everybody on everything in order to to fellowship with them and to get along with them and enjoy their company. John took the bed off. Okay, yep, that's what they had to do to mine. And then of course there's other things going on. I'm destined to get uh, destined to wind up having to get a new pickup. But I mean, I guess it's not surprising. Mine is 20, no, 12. Do the math is hard. Like 13 years old, something like that, and 350,000 miles. So no surprising. Pickies, I'll eat rabbits. Yeah,
I'm back.
hey, whoa, you made it.
I figured out how to do it.
Good grief! And I just kept yapping long enough to keep it going.
All right. Well, thank you. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah,
Looks like my phone is now charging for whatever reason. I don't know what's different, but
thank goodness.
it went all the way down to zero and shut off, and then I got turned back on, and now it's gradually building back up. We're talking about trucks.
Well, we were for a sec. I was just trying to read the chat and trying to keep some conversation going, so it wasn't just like dead air the whole time. But so yeah, but yeah. So anyway, we were talking about religious stuff and working our way out of that and getting over. In
Yeah,
fact,
you
I
wanted
mentioned
to
I
you
mentioned to
wanted to talk
people
about something.
while you were gone. I mentioned to everybody that a friend of mine in Ireland, and
Oh,
I don't even know what made me think of that, but I mentioned that and how you're the way I got to know Half Can over there, and then
yeah.
got to spend a couple of days with him while we were in
That is
Ireland.
so cool that you got to go over there and meet him.
It really was. He was a heck of a neat guy. I enjoyed. Man, he's got some good stories to tell. One of the he lives right there. How do you say it? If you're looking at Ireland, he lives all the way over on the west coast. I mean, like way out west, and then he's on an island there. Not like you think of as a way off island, but it's just you have to go
Yeah.
over bridges to get to it.
It's like
Uh,
the other side of an intercoastal waterway
Pretty
almost.
much something like that. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And he's got a boat, probably about a 20, easily 20-foot boat out there, wooden boat parked next to his house that he
Mm.
used to fish out of. Go out into the North Atlantic to go fishing in. That was part of what he did to sustain himself. That's how he kind of made his living back when he was younger,
Mm.
and got some pretty good stories about that. You got to want to go fishing bad to get out in those waves sometime.
I'm going to disappear from the screen from a second, but I'm not going anywhere. I just got to get my wood
Okay,
stove going because it's
sure,
cold.
yeah, no
I'm
problem.
listening. Tell me about Half Can.
Half Can is a neat dude. He's got lots of good stories. He is a very Irish Irishman. He around that part where we were, you go to the store and you can expect to hear Gaelic Irish Gaelia being spoken. I tried to learn Irish language before I got there, and made a little progress. And he was flattered and impressed with what I did. But at one point, he told me, he said, "Mate, you might as well not, because everywhere you go, it's going to be different." And he was right. You know, uh, it all reads. If you read it, it's the same, but when you're speaking it, it comes out different in different places. But still, Learned lots of stuff, man. Ireland. Okay, so here's big confession. I fought the trip to go over there. My wife wanted to go, and she knew I did. But I'm like a lot of guys, and I'm like, no, I have work to do. I have responsibilities. I can't go take off and do something like that. It's going to cost a lot of money, and blah 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 blah. Blah. And we went anyway, and she got the whole trip. So we were in Ireland 11 days, airfare, hotels, rental car, everything except food and trips to the pubs
Yeah.
for $3,000.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, we did distillery tours and everything, and it
That's
was a
awesome.
it was a hell of a good trip, and it was good. And of course, got to go see Halfcan. So everybody that doesn't know here, okay, we're a little backstory here. I don't know if anybody cares, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. I got to know Halfcan, who is from the Connemara of Ireland, over in County Galway, which is west. The Connemara is like Irishman's Ireland, I guess, if you want to call that. That's where the hardcore dudes live, is over in there, and he's one of them. And in 2019, my two oldest daughters got killed in a car crash, and I got a call or a text message, I think it was, from Zach. He said, "Hey, Rob, there's a dude from Ireland. I'd seen him in the chat a couple of times, didn't really know who he was. Said it's Halfcan. Said he's wanting to get in touch with you. Do you care?" And I'm like, "No, man, that's fine. I don't care. I'm an open book. I'll post my phone number in chats that 1,000 people can see, because my phone number is so private that only a couple of thousand people have it. It's my business number, so I don't care who got it." And he said, "You care if he gets in touch?" I was like, "No, it's fine." So he gave it to him. And then Halfcan contacted me. And Halfcan is Catholic, of course, because he's from that part of Ireland. And he said he wanted to have the priest do a couple, to say mass over my girls. And he wanted to send me what they call mass cards. I'd never heard of it before, but it's a card that says a priest. And this is at the place he did it, happens to be the oldest existing. He says it's the oldest existing church in Ireland, I guess, over there in that part.
I think
And
it's the oldest still active church.
maybe whatever.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
way
very old church.
it's way, and there's some old churches there. I mean,
Yeah.
in Dublin, we went to one that was still going on, and they tore down the old building in 900 and started building the new building in 1000, and we finished it in somewhere in the early 1100s. Like, holy mackerel! In fact, the
Yeah.
guy that did the tour there, I was like, "Oh, this place is old." And he was like, "Yes." He said, "I like to tell American tourists that come here." He said, "I've got ties that are older than America," and I'm like, "No, I don't doubt it." But and so Halfcan sent me the cards, and just was really, his mom had died, just was about to die. I think she died maybe 2 weeks, if I'm right, after the girls
Mm.
got killed. And so it just meant a lot to him. And of course, him doing something like that, somebody I'd never met, it meant a lot to me. We had a lot of people. It was a weird thing, Zach. People from all over the world knew about my girls. I don't know how.
Mhm.
They were just my girls. I don't know how anybody else knew about them, but but lots of people did. And so when he did that, that was very touching to me. And after that, we stayed in touch and contact and all, and especially him. I guess that Texas mystique that's around wherever else, and so at one point I said, "Hey man, we get to go see Ireland finally." He's like, "Well, you're bloody well coming here then if you are," and I'm okay. And it was a great trip, good
Wow.
visit, good trip.
Yeah, Halfcan has been. He's like that. Like, when my grandfather died, he had a mass said for my grandfather, and
Nice.
when my youngest son was just born, he had a mass said for my son,
How about
and
that? Good for him.
and while I'm not Roman Catholic, I do believe there are Christian brothers, and he's having prayers said on our behalf, even if he's not
Correct.
having
You
them
can't
said in the
you can't
same
argue
form we
with
would
that.
say them.
Yeah, that's
It was deeply meaningful to
you
me
betcha. You
that he
betcha.
would do that.
You betcha. You betcha.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
and
He
he stays up with me, and
yeah,
sends me messages, and
yeah,
uh, just
he holds
little
you in very high
encouragement.
regard, I can tell you.
He he spiritually belongs over here. He would fit in very, very well.
Yep.
Uh,
Exactly. Kind of like an Englishman I can think of that
yeah,
belongs over here. Yeah.
he in my opinion, Halfcan took a lot of risk for gun rights in the UK to the extent he could.
Yep.
You know, he didn't have the tools available to him that we did, but he still took a very principled stand.
Correct.
And I was impressed by that.
Yep.
And I don't know how much you would want us to share about all that, but
Yeah, over here it's no big deal, but man, anymore you see stuff that you saw. I guess the guy, some British guy that was over here, went to a gun range and was doing stuff, and then posted pictures of it. Got arrested for posting pictures of being at a gun range in America.
yep,
Zach, the UK is done, man. They're
it's
done.
over.
Yeah,
And our Second Amendment is founded over there in rights they had.
that's
They
right.
gifted that to us.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I think we maybe took it and ran with it, but you know,
Exactly.
it was a right of an Englishman to be able to bear arms.
Yep.
That's what when the Anglo-Saxons first started sort of forming as a culture over there, that's what designated you as their version of a citizen. You would be a churl, which was a good thing back then, if you owned a spear and a shield, and
Mm-hmm.
that meant that you're kind of a fully actuated citizen.
Yeah.
Now that was 1,500 years ago now, but even so, that was their culture, and it's gone now.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Uh,
is. It is.
and
It's a shame.
we wanna blame the immigration, and immigration is a bad thing, and we should not have it. But that was done by their own people. It was other Englishmen and other Britons and who did that to them. That wasn't an outside thing
Right.
that they were disarmed. That was done from within.
Yeah. Well, and they're certainly wanting to do that. There
To
are,
us.
yeah, there are people here that would absolutely want to do that. Australia, same thing. I remember when Australia lost their ability to have firearms. I was like, oh, that's not going to go well, and it has not.
It has not.
Yeah.
It has not. So yeah, we need to not be too arrogant about the liberties we still have, because
Correct.
we could lose them in a heartbeat.
They are fragile. Yes, they are.
Very, very, very fragile.
Yeah, for sure.
So
So,
I know everyone's not everyone in the chat's a big fan of Trump. I am a big fan of Trump, but think how close we were if Hillary had won, and Hillary had got to appoint 3 Supreme Court justices instead of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
We would not have gun rights right now. They would be gone already.
Yeah. We would be keeping them secret and shooting mofos that came to get them. I mean, it would have got ugly quick. I feel like it would have got ugly quick.
Very quick.
Yeah.
Very, very, very quick.
So
anyway.
good to think about. Yeah.
So
I
I see your lovely bride is talking about wanting to go back to Ireland. She must have enjoyed it, huh?
She did, and I'm sure I could be talked into it again. It was, man. Zach, I felt at home there, man. I did. I felt
Really?
at home. Go to the pubs and just the people are friendly and singing and good beer and Irish whiskey. I love Irish whiskey, not the peated stuff, but the single pot stuff. That's yeah, man. It was beautiful there. One of the things she did, you'll probably get a kick out of this. She likes lighthouses. She's big into lighthouses. Whenever she goes somewhere, if there's a lighthouse to be gone to and seen, we're going, or she's going, something. And so while we were there, she arranged a couple of lighthouse tours that she wanted to go do, or go lighthouses she wanted to go see. One of them was on what they call the Aran Islands, which actually wound up being, and it was earlier in the trip, but straight south from where Halfcan lives. But it's a small island that we took a ferry out to, and we rode bicycles around on the island. Got rained on all day, soaking wet. Soaking wet by the end of the day. But it was a good time, and there was a lighthouse there. But then way up north, like all the way at the top north of Ireland and on the west coast, we didn't go into actual Northern Ireland, which is English. But we were way up there, and there was an island out on what's called St. John's Point. Goes about 6 miles out into the ocean, just a spit of land, peninsula, if you want that. Not very wide. Some places a quarter of a mile wide. It's kind of like the spit in Homer, Alaska, kind of like the Homer spit.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lighthouse out there that she booked, and we actually slept in the lighthouse keeper's quarters
Oh,
there. This lighthouse was built and put into service in 1836. That's the year the Alamo was fought.
that's crazy.
That was beautiful. Oh, what a cool place, man. So yeah, that was the highlight of the trip for her, and pretty close to me. There were loads of highlights. I mean, I did. I
Yeah.
loved going to the pubs. We spent a couple of nights in Dublin. I'm not a city guy, man. I freaking hate big cities, but there was lots and lots of cool history to see in Dublin. And if you're in Dublin and you stop and look at some old building for more than a few minutes, somebody that lives there, some Irishman, not the invaders, but the actual Irish people, will come up and be like, "Hey, I see you looking at that. Do you know?" And they'll give you the whole story, man. I mean, we were in one place. It was an old Catholic church there that we had stopped, and we were looking just the architecture and the stonework and the ironwork. Man, you can't believe how cool it is. Just super cool. And there was a guy, and I could tell he was probably one of the priests that was there, and he was touching up some of the wrought iron fencing and working rails and stuff around it. And he had just like a can of Krylon. And I was looking at all that, and we stopped, and I stood there for a second, and he looked around. And I said, "I think you're going to need a bigger can of paint." He was like, "What?" I said, "There's a lot of iron here." I said, "You're not going to make much progress with that." And you're like, "Oh, I'm not doing the whole thing, mate. I'm just doing this bit here." I said, "Well, thank goodness. I was worried." We had a 45-minute conversation with him, Zach. He was telling us about the history right there. And I'm not going to think of his name. Back when Ireland was getting its independence from England. What was that guy's name? Michael something. Anyway, that area right there was where they were having some of the gunfights and trying to get rid of the British. And he showed us, he lived down here, but they got onto him, but he managed to get on his bike and ride to this building over here. And he stayed there and he watched when they went down. They had a big shoot. I mean,
that's awesome.
It's incredible, man. The actual Irish people are so proud of their heritage, man. We went to another old church that wasn't an old church anymore, but they had converted it into an office building, and we were looking, at it. And somebody came out, and I'm like, "Oh man, sorry, I wasn't trying to get too close." He's like, "Oh, it's all right." So what are you doing here? I said, "Well, we're just looking at all this," and and they're like, "Do you want to see inside?" And we're like, and so he took us in, got us in the building. We went in there and they showed how they renovated it, and it looked like a modern office, except for all the walls and some of the stone structures in the middle. And it's still
cool.
1,000 years old. 1,000 years. Jake, we have trouble comprehending that.
Yeah,
this place was 1,000 years old.
Yeah,
and just every time you turn a corner, there's another one, another big big monastery or something like that. And it's just over and over and over. And then you drive through the countryside and you're driving along and, oh, there's a castle. Oh, there's a castle. Oh, there's another monastery. I mean, just like, everywhere. And it's just so cool.
I'd never been to Ireland or that, but I got to go to some places around the Mediterranean and spend some time in Spain.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't remember the name of the town, and that's a shame because it was a big one. But they were doing this walking tour, and they took us over this bridge, and this bridge had been made in the 900s.
Yeah.
And I like history. I've always liked history, even when I was a very, very, very young man. And so I was standing in the middle of this bridge that was built, this would have been 1997, 98, somewhere around in the late 90s. So we're talking about a 1,000-year-old bridge at least.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about all the history that had crossed that bridge over a millennium, and armies fight this way and armies fight that way. And I mean, and I'm just sort of standing there having a moment and feeling this sort of this march of history. And I hear beep, beep, beep. I turn around and some guy's trying to drive across the bridge and I'm blocking it. And I'm thinking, no, you can't drive across this bridge. This is a historical artist. They still used it as a bridge. It was still driving cars across it 1,000 years later.
Yeah, to them it's just a bridge.
It's just a bridge. And I was like, get that out of here. You can't drive on a 1,000-year-old bridge.
Yeah. What's wrong with you?
National treasure. No, it was just a bridge.
Yeah. And to them, that's probably not even the oldest thing around.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it wasn't even. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It was a
crazy.
cool town though. I would love to go. I would love to go visit Halfcan in Ireland.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Um,
he would. I think, I don't know if you heard a while ago when I said he holds you in very high regard. He
yeah, I really hold him in pretty. Yeah, when you don't meet, you've never met someone in meet space or real space.
Yeah.
It can sometimes, to other people, it might feel like more of a shallow relationship. But when you share ideas and you interact so much, uh, yeah, I would love to be able to go see him.
when we
But
got there, when we
who
got
knows when
there,
that's going to be.
I'd never met him either, of course, and he just said, "Well, here's the store, grocery store I'll meet you at, and it's in this town." And so Christy and I, she was the navigator, I was the driver. Good grief,
Yeah,
driving in Ireland! Holy mackerel! This is
really,
why I look old from the 11 days I spent driving there.
it has
That
nothing to do with the fact that you are old.
Nothing to do with that, I assure you. I mean, good grief, that wrong side of the road, sitting on the wrong side of the car. The gear shifter, where's the gear shifter? Under your right hand? Nope, under your left hand. So you got to figure out.
That would be hard.
Oh yeah, and then the whole time you're driving, your brain is telling you you're in the wrong lane, man. Scoot back over. You're
Yeah.
over too far, and it's just, and the roads are like, I mean, I've slept in beds that were wider than those roads over there. And there's no forgiveness. It's not like here where there's a little bit of a shoulder and it's no big deal. No, man, the stone wall that was built, 1,500 years ago,
Yep.
if you get too close, you're going to take your mirror off on it, man. If you get,
Yeah.
I mean, it's right up to the edge of the pavement.
I
It
bet you
is.
could ram those walls head on and it wouldn't even
Oh, I
move.
doubt it. Yeah, yeah. And they're everywhere. Around where Halfcan lives, there's just spot. I mean, it's just stone walls out the wazoo. It's crazy. And he was showing me, we raised potatoes in there and had a couple of sheep or whatever. In this one, the milk cow was here, and just
Hmm.
that kind of thing, man. It's just everybody's little bits
Did
and
he
stuff.
show you the place where he cuts peat? That to me, that was the most fascinating thing.
We didn't go there. We didn't go there. But I mean, I saw all the peat that he had, all the turf that he had brought in and all like that. We didn't go out to that spot. We had such limited time. We got there on one evening, spent the night, and then walked around, did stuff the next day, spent the night, and the next day we were off. We had to go back to Dublin. And by
Mhm.
the way, the whole country of Ireland. I'm from Texas. I'm not used to this. The whole country of Ireland took us about 3.5 hours to drive from the east coast to the west coast. I mean, it's like
There's counties in Texas that you can't drive across in 3.5 hours.
that. That's right. Yeah, from where we live right on the far western edge of the upper part of Texas. I'm about a half hour, 45 minutes from New Mexico, depending on which way I go. For us to drive to go to Arkansas, it's a little over 9 hours.
Mm, that's crazy.
So it's a waste. But okay, so here's something cool about since we're talking about Ireland. Hefkin, we walked down to the cemetery there, the local cemetery where he's from, and he showed me his family's burial plot, if you want to call it that. Now, here's something I didn't know this. Do you know what a ledger stone is?
Mm,
Okay, so we learned about ledger stones while we were in Dublin. There's a church there, the one that they tore down and started rebuilding in 900 AD. Yeah,
mm.
and all through the church, there's these stones that are in the floor that have all the carvings and the Celtic markings and Latin stuff on them. And it turns out that in this church, there are, I'm not going to remember the number, Christy, was it 1,200, 1,500, some crazy number of people that are buried inside the church right there in the hall,
Really?
in the if you want to call it the auditorium. There's these stones in there. And the way it works is it's a big flat stone. It's like a headstone laid down flat instead of standing up. But it doesn't just have one person there. There may be 15, 20, 30 people buried in that same hole.
Wow.
And so we got to where Halfcan was, and we went down there, and he told me about it. What they do when somebody dies in the family, they're going to get buried there. There's three of them go down, and they lift up the stone, move it out of the way, scoot it over out of the way, and then two guys dig, and one guy sifts through the dirt to hang on to the bones. And Halfcan said when it was his turn to be the one sifting and not doing the digging, he said it was not a big deal until he sifted through and came up with a skull that was
Oh my
great
God.
great grandfather, great uncle, or whatever, who knows who, so and so. And he said right then it became really real. But they dig it out, they put the next person in there, then they put all the bones back in, and then they put the dirt back in, and then they put the stone back on top.
Wow.
Yeah, they don't use coffins and caskets. I guess they bury them, just they wrap them and put them in there, bury them like that. And
That,
some of them don't have a full spot where they can lay them out flat. It has to go deep enough that they can set them in straight up and down, and do it that way. And man,
Huh.
I had never even thought about something like that. So
Yeah.
that was just one of the many cool things. And where he lives is right next. I mean, it's a about a 45-second, 2-minute walk, whatever, down to the edge of the water, to the ocean down there.
Hmm.
And he talked about him and his sister. They'd go collect winkies when they were winkles, huh? Winkies, yep, that's what I thought. Winky, which are periwinkles. The little things like that. And him and his sister would go, to help feed the family. They'd go down there and spend half a day picking them up and loading them up, and they come back and they cook them out and then pick them out with tweezers and what all. But
wow.
it's part of how they fed themselves with the snails, basically, but not quite.
Hmm.
Yeah, Zach, it was
That,
a good trip, man. It was a really cool, good trip.
that is cool. Well,
Yep.
he may or may not be in the live stream. I had told him that we were going to be talking tonight and that he might come up, but I don't know what time it is over there.
It's 6 hours from here, so 5 hours from you. So what is it here? 9? Yeah, it's 3:30 in the morning over there.
He's probably in bed.
I'm sure he is. I imagine he'll watch it tomorrow. Half can, my good friend. Here's to you, brother.
Yeah, Half Can. I'm not going to toast you with mouthwash, and that's all I've got in there. That's all Jack Daniels is good for is mouthwash.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
I don't.
yeah,
I don't drink bad alcohol anymore. I'm too old.
yeah. Sláinte was the hut.
What do you? Yeah.
That's Gaelic. It's good health. Good health to you, my. Deher means it's like brother, but more than brother, like that close.
Yeah.
So.
It's spelled DARTHAIR.
DEARTHAIR. Yep, that's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Gaelic was it's a fun language to learn. It's tricky though. Good grief. I like languages. I like learning languages. I really do.
Mm-hmm. I don't have a knack for them. I've got a brother who does have a knack for languages, and he seems to be able to pick them up pretty easy. But
the Middleton Distillery, heck yeah, yeah. Christy's on there talking about the different places. The Middleton Distillery. That was like that. That's I walked into the Middleton Distillery. I'll send you a picture later, but they've got this wall of all the different Irish whiskeys that I love, and I walk in there and it's just like, oh. Yeah. So I'll let you in on a little secret here. Moonshine. We talked about moonshine earlier and how good it is. Well, they make moonshine in Ireland too. It turns out, but
that's where the name comes from.
It's called Poteen over there. Pot. I'm going to get it wrong. Potin. Potin. But with so Poteen is how they say it. I came home with a bottle of it.
Oh, really? How'd you get it through?
I'm a clever fellow. I got lucky or something. Well, okay, so here's the story, and I don't care if I go. I don't think I'm going to go to jail at this point. But before we got there, he's like, "What's something you really want when you're over here?" I said, I want to try some poutine. He's like, "Mate, there's loads of stuff better than that." I'm like, he's like, "All right, I'll hook you up." Well, it turns out there's a local fellow that he knows who is the guy, and so I get there, and he's got me not just a taste, but a full bottle. And I'm like, yeah. And so I'm like, how am I going to get this home? I'm like, because he had it in a red wine bottle. I'm like, I don't think Customs is going to believe that's red wine.
You could kill a man with that much moonshine.
Oh, what a way to go. So I'm like, okay, it's good. It's moonshine, but it's got a little bit different flavor than American, moonshine. But I'm like, how am I going to get this home? So we went into town, went to the store, and I got a bottle of Polish vodka. Pretty decent vodka, I guess. And we got back, and I'm like, okay. So I poured the Polish. I just happened to have an empty Irish whiskey bottle. Don't know where that came from. And so I poured that in there, and of course there was a little bit left, more of the poutine than there was that. So we We drank that, and then I put the poutine in the vodka bottle, and then cranked the lid down really, really tight, and it looked natural, and made it right through customs, never a second glance.
That's cool.
So I'm fairly safe in saying, fairly confident in saying, I'm the only guy in Texas that has a bottle of true Irish moonshine.
That's probably true.
Yeah, I'm very
There's probably
comfortable
not too
thinking that.
many authentic Irish moonshine
I bet.
distilleries in Texas.
I bet not. I bet. Yeah, that of all the whiskey, I brought like five good bottles of Irish whiskey back. Of all of those, that's the one I'm probably most proud of.
Yeah. What do they make their mash out of? I'm
Pretty
assuming
much
they
the
don't use
same thing. I
corn.
mean, they still use corn, and a
They
lot
do
of
use corn, huh?
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
a lot of the same stuff. It the distillation process for it is much the same as what we do here. Now, I don't know all the fine details, but it is much the same. It's not peated. Do you understand what peated is?
So I think that's when they distill it over a peat fire, right?
When they roast the barley, yeah, the grains over peat fire instead
Oh,
of a wood fire. Yeah,
oh,
that's
okay.
what gives it the flavor. And
I
I'm
I
not
assumed it was when they were boiling it.
no no, but when
It's
when
when they
they're
roast
roast
it.
I just went blank on what is it called? The roasted gra- it'll come to me in a minute. But yeah, it's when they're
The malt.
roasting malted. Yes, that's right. When they're malting it. Thank you. Good calls that. Yeah, when they're malting it, when they're doing that, they're using a peat fire, which is the turf, that Afghan digs up and uses for his fire. They use that to roast it, and so that's what gives it that earthy, dark flavor that it has. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah.
In small amounts, okay, but like scotches and stuff like that, I'm just not a fan.
Yeah,
Just not a fan.
it's a different taste,
It is.
and I do like it in. I just sip whiskey anyway. I don't do anything with whiskey except sip it.
Yeah.
So, sipping it, I like the peat like as a variety thing.
Yeah.
I like uh I like rye whiskeys more than I even like bourbons.
No
Uh,
kidding.
yeah,
Yeah. See, rye. Some ryes are okay. It's not high on my list. It depends on the rye. Bullet rye is not
yeah,
bad. It's kind of
really
nice.
good, really good. That's
Sazerac
my
is
go-to.
okay. Yeah.
If I'm gonna go buy a bottle of rye, I probably go. I'm gonna go buy Bullet.
Okay.
Uh,
Speaking of which, my glass runneth empty. I'm gonna have to add a bit here.
uh,
I've got this one, and I also brought one of my old standby, my traveling ones right there, just the regular Evan Black Label. I
oh
like
yeah,
the Evan White Label better, the bottled in bond. That's become a big favorite of mine. Whiskeys that are bottled in bond. I don't know. A lot of people don't realize bottled in bond is a specific distillation process and aging process that like bourbon, not every whiskey is bourbon, but every bourbon is whiskey,
right.
and there's a certain process that has to be followed. I mean, legally has to be
Mhm.
followed for it to be bourbon. And bottled in bond has its own process. It has to be at least 100 proof. It has to be at least 5 years old, 5 or 7 now, I don't remember. Anyway, bottled in bond has become one of my favorites. E.H. Taylor is bottled in bond. Both of the basic ones. There's a Heaven Hill, an Old Forester, all of those, and the Evan Williams.
Hmm.
All very, very, very good, very flavorful whiskeys.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that phrase before. Uh, I had my bourbon phase, and then I kind of discovered the rise by accident,
Yeah,
and I I just like the taste just a little bit better. But I don't drink whiskey enough anymore to really act like I've got any kind of a palate or anything. I
you
just
come down here. We'll get you back in practice.
you know I don't like to drink any flavored alcohols.
No,
Uh,
I'm not big on that.
but it, it was that same Marine buddy who got me. I got drunk with that night, that weekend I got into that fight. I was at a, a party with him, and they were drinking a peanut butter whiskey, which sounds
Oh,
awful.
it is awful. I know what that is. Screwballs. Yeah.
I don't remember what the name of it was. I just know it was a peanut butter flavored whiskey,
Yeah,
And
I
for
think.
some reason, it went down so easy
How about that?
that I just got myself in. I mean, as drunk as I've ever been, and it
How
was
about that?
just miserable. Like
My goodness.
I hated every minute of it.
You know who Diorce is, right?
Mm-mm.
Diorce, you don't know him? He's one of Abe's best friends. I'm surprised you don't know who that is. Like maybe just a slightly different circle, but he brought us here. He's a good dude. He's a good kid. He's always bringing us something neat. And he showed up with some peanut butter jelly whiskey here a while back, and it wasn't great, but it wasn't as terrible as I would like to say it was.
Yeah,
And so,
that's what shocked me about it. Is it wasn't if you didn't think about it as being whiskey,
yeah,
it actually went down pretty easy.
that's exactly right. It's one of those things. It just seems wrong to call it that, but
Yeah,
if you can think of it as something else, then it's okay.
yeah. I was embarrassed that I drank as much of it as I did just because of what it was. But then I got just so shit faced drunk,
No, you
and I
didn't
was
care anymore.
so hungover. I mean, I
Huh.
was just miserably hungover.
Goodness, that's
And
bad.
I haven't drank much since.
I'm sure.
Uh,
Yeah, that'll do it.
and
That'll do
I
it.
mean, it wasn't like I'd never been drunk before or anything. Like, trust me. But for some
Oh,
reason, that time it just hit so hard, and I
yeah.
was like,
No,
this isn't fun anymore."
it's a weird thing how alcohol affects us. There have been times, even in my days when I was doing a lot of drinking back in Colorado, there'd be times when I would go drink one beer and get knocked on my butt, man. It's
Mm,
something about the body maybe being depleted. You're tired. You're
mm,
thirsty. You haven't eaten all day, whatever else, and you drink that beer, and the alcohol uploads in a hurry and
mhm.
just gets to you. You know, sometimes it's not the quantity you drink, it's how your body is preconditioned to handle it at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Hey, I'm going to step away. I'm going to get a cube of ice to put in here.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
I will try to keep this going while you're gone, as well as you kept it going while I was gone. All right. So, what I have started enjoying more and more as I've aged is darker and darker beers. And I've gotten to the point where I really like porters. I like stouts too. Stouts and porters are kind of the same thing, I guess, but porters are slightly less stout than
Heck
stouts.
yeah,
And I really enjoy porters,
absolutely.
but I just don't drink them that much. Because it's not easy to get porter around here, for crying out loud. It's just not a common thing. But there's this one, and it's actually an English beer. I was shocked at how much I started enjoying English beers.
Yeah,
It's called Taddy Caster or
I don't know that
Taddy
one.
Porter, or yeah, Taddy Porter.
Huh.
Tad Caster is the name of the brewery, and then the porter itself is called Taddy Porter. To this day, one of the best beers I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, when we were there at the pubs, we ordered. You think, oh, you ordered Guinness. That's so cliche. Irish people don't really drink Guinness. Well, hell yes, they do too. Guinness is
Really?
mostly what they drink. In fact, we got stuck in traffic for a while behind a Guinness truck hauling. Good grief, no telling, a couple of hundred wooden barrels of Guinness that they were hauling.
Hmm.
And behind, and they drink a lot of Guinness there, but they also drink Smithwicks and Harp, and what were some of the other good dark beers we drank? Do you remember? Yes, I can't. Anyway, yes, lots of good dark beers. Yeah, man, that's the way beer should be.
I've really started enjoying dark beer. The
For
more I
sure.
age, the more I like a dark beer.
Yep, yep, yep. I got into that a long time ago. Back when I was in my early 20s, I was an electrician at a textile mill there where I live, and I got sent off to a school for some of the machinery we were working on, and it was machinery out of Switzerland, Swiss machinery, and Swiss and German very close to the same. And we were there, and I was talking to some of the guys, the Swiss dudes, and they were talking about American beer being because at that time I didn't like beer. When I was in college, a beer, open up a can of Coors, that would last me all night. Just I sipped on it just because.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys introduced me to darker beers and ales and porters and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, now that's got some flavor to it. That's pretty good. And I learned. And then when I moved to Breckenridge, you ever heard of Breckenridge Brewery?
Mhm.
Okay, that's where it started. Was right there. I was one of
Wow.
we were top customers, I guess.
Huh.
But I learned to like really good fresh beer in that time. And I mean, I still drink. Okay, I drink Lone Star. That's kind of like an all the time okay beer. But if I had my druthers, it would be good dark German
Yeah.
and English and that kind of stuff.
So my go-to beer, which I still enjoy, which it's still a good beer. I don't know if it's worked its way out that far yet. Is Yingling. If you ever get a,
Yeah, I've had that. It's okay.
I really enjoy Yingling. It's just a good, simple,
Hmm.
uncomplicated, unpretentious beer
For
uh,
sure.
that that I enjoy. But if it's not at least Yingling, and unless someone's buying me a beer, if someone buys me a beer, obviously I'm going to drink the beer. And
Yeah.
but if I
Yeah.
want to go
What's the
buy
old saying?
myself a
What's
beer,
your favorite beer? Cold and free.
yeah. uh, but if I have to go buy it myself, and if it's not something I like and I'm interested in, I'm just not going to drink it.
Right. Yeah.
So now you can't show it. If you touch a gun on a live stream, they dump the live stream. But do you mind saying what your EDC is for travel like that, like what y'all are doing right now?
I have you ever had a live stream dumped because you showed a gun? Have you really? I never have. I've showed guns on several live streams, and it never. Huh. So
I
anyway, okay, yeah. So the pistol I carry all the time is just a Colt 45 short slide, the combat commander model. That's the one I carry all the time. Usually tucked into the back, the small of my back there. Not the best place, but
yeah
it's just the easiest. And can I draw it out and point and shoot in 0.3 seconds? Probably not. But can I get it out and shoot it quick enough to probably stop anybody who's going to cause a problem? Yeah,
yeah
do that. That's my main one. My backup pistol, oddly enough, is a Smith and Wesson uh, uh, J frame, K frame. Now I can't remember. 357-38 wheel gun revolver. It's just as smooth. Both of those pistols fit my hand. When I first see, I almost reached over and picked it up. That's crazy. I've never had a problem showing a firearm.
Now
Anyway,
it may have
we
been
won't.
because it was a really good live. It was the best live stream of my entire YouTube
Oh
career,
yeah.
and I had about 130 people on the live stream.
Wow.
And I just picked up the pistol to show it because someone asked about it,
Uh huh.
and they dumped it, and they gave me a community strike, and I couldn't stream for a week.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I've shown. I mean, I've had in live streams for the last night. The one I did, I had the rifle that I've got here in the hotel room. That one that I used for that run walk. I
Mhm.
had it sitting in the back there. It was right there the whole
So
time.
you can show them, but you can't handle them. If you pick them up, and they actually have a reasonable. The explanation they gave was actually reasonable.
I doubt it.
Well, so they were having what they said is people were committing suicides and crimes on live streams, and so they didn't want the suicides and the crimes being live streamed,
How
which
long ago?
this would have been probably 3 or 4 years ago.
I'll be dang. Well, I won't touch mine then. It's sitting right here in front of me. But yeah, that and then that revolver are the ones that I live in Texas. At any given time, okay. At any given time, I've got my 45 stuck in between the seats right next to me. I've got the 357 stuck under the little fold down deal in the middle between the seats up there.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a rifle to 223. Um, good grief, Savage Axis 223 that's scoped bolt action that's tucked in the seat right next to where Age sits with his elbow on my scope all the time, knocking it out. That rides right there. In the back seat, I've usually got a 12 gauge short barrel, 12 gauge pump shotgun that's back there. And then typically, I've got a breakdown 22 rifle under the back seat.
Hmm.
And it's not for any weird reasons. It depends on what I need to shoot.
Yeah.
If I need to roll the weddy down, stop on the road, and throw that rifle out there and drop a coyote, out there at 100 yards or so, that's the one I use. If there's a skunk, I'm having to jump out and chase it down the bar ditch at a run. Skunks are amazingly fast. You think they're just waddling along there and not going fast? Good grief! Try running. It's like chasing an armadillo.
Mm.
It's just crazy. All of those things, and all of them are okay because I've been pulled over and they're right there in plain sight. And the trooper will say, "Are you armed?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm an electrician. I got all kinds of weapons in here. What are you looking for?" And he's like, "Have you got a pistol?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course. Where is it?" And I show him. He's like, "Okay, just don't grab that." I'm like, "Yeah." They don't care. I am age. Uh, Zach, Age's been with me a couple of times when that happened, and it's funny to watch him. That's not a natural thing from where he's from, but we're blessed to be here in the part of Texas we are. They just don't care.
Yeah.
They
So they don't
expect.
give us any trouble here about pistols whatsoever. Like I've never even had an officer ask me if I had a pistol.
Oh,
But the carrying the rifles thing around is still a little frowned upon, even out here in the mountains where I'm at.
how about that? I
Yeah,
wonder why. You
I'm
wouldn't
not
think so, because
sure.
everybody hunts out there.
Yeah, and that it may have something to do with that. It may be sort of a like you've got to kind of show that you're not poaching, because poaching is
Okay.
a big deal out here.
Oh, sure,
Because
no
we
doubt.
just don't have that open land. That's the other thing too, is we just don't have the open land you guys have.
Well,
Like,
we don't have open government land. All the land is private around where I live.
oh really?
Yeah. But I mean, unless I don't. Yeah, that's just not an issue for whatever reason. I
Yeah. If
guess.
for me to get 100-yard shot around here, I would
Yeah.
have to go find the railroad. Like I'd have
How
to shoot
about?
down the railroad.
Of course, and that's a. So for everybody that doesn't know where I live, where Zach lives, it's trees everywhere. You can't see past the edge of the road hardly.
Nope.
Where I live, we use trees as landmarks. Literally, we do. That's the way we've always done it. You tell someone, "Where are you?" Well, say, "Okay, you go about 4 miles out north of town." Yeah, you know where that clump of trees on the corner of the road is? Oh yeah, okay. Well, you turn there. You know, uh,
Yeah.
that's it, man. We have just about zero trees unless somebody planted it.
Yeah. No, I have trees that like we just have we have trees. That's just it. We have
Yeah,
trees.
yeah,
In
yeah,
fact,
for sure.
I have not so much anymore, but we used to navigate by pastures. Yeah, you're going to go down and you're going to see a pasture and turn left at the because you just don't
Yeah,
have open space around here.
yeah. Well, it was that way where Christy's people are from in Central Tennessee.
Mhm.
All of Christy's family was from about an hour south of Nashville,
Mhm.
right there in that area, and then about 45 minutes to an hour southeast of Nashville. In fact, we would go from one set of Christy's grandparents to the other, we would pass right by the Jack Daniels distillery
Oh.
on the way there. So that's where they are, and it's the same kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, they talk about open spots. That open field there. That's right up behind that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like I've got that little lever action 357 Magnum.
Hey, cool. What, a
Uh,
Henry or what?
Rossi,
Okay.
which I know Rossi's not American and Henry is, but
Doesn't
handling the
matter.
Rossi and
Yeah.
the Henry, I just like the Rossi so much.
Yeah. Sure. And it's a little 357, man, a little pistol caliber rifle. That's kind of cool.
But around here, I don't know that there's anything around here I couldn't shoot with that thing, and that's a 150-yard gun at the extreme outside. I mean,
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
150
Outside of that,
yards,
it's dropping quick.
yeah, and there's nothing I couldn't do with that out here.
How about
So
that?
it's just rifles are not as common to be carried.
How about that? And see, out here, like my gun range, if you want to call it that, out there on the south side of my house, I've got targets set up at 25, 50, 100, 200, and 300 yards out there. And I typically sight my rifles in at 200 yards.
Wow. I don't even have a range that I can access that's more than 100 yards.
How about
Yeah.
how about? And I got a couple of friends. One friend of mine what you'd call it there, but it's just thousands of years ago there was a river probably that flowed through there, and so it drops down maybe 100 feet before it goes up the other side.
Wow, that's crazy. I would love to have. So the Sasquatch, he's got 40 acres up there in northeastern Tennessee, and he has 175-yard range up there, and that's the farthest I've been able to shoot since I got out of the Corps. Uh, so I met Aid at Sasquatch's place. That's where I got to meet Aid at. He was out there with Wes. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, your audio is coming through, but your video is frozen. And also, it's not a very flattering picture they froze on either.
I saw that. Yeah, I'm looking at
Oh,
that.
you're back.
Am I?
Yeah, your video's back.
Not for me.
Oh, now you're back.
Okay, yeah, Christy says I'm back too now, but it's still not back.
No, now you're gone, and now your audio's gone too. So I better start tap dancing until Rob gets back with us. But we've had nothing but stinking technical difficulties with this entire stream. Okay, Mike says I have an indoor shooting range. I just have to open the window and shut the toilet seat if I'm shooting an automatic firearm. Yeah, I guess you don't want the brass going down to the toilet. That would probably clog it up pretty quick, and then you have to fish it out of the toilet. That's no bueno. I have a story about that, but I won't bore you with it at the moment. What I had wanted to actually talk with Rob about is what rifle he travels with, because I actually don't travel with a rifle, and I've been thinking about. Oh, he's back. Hi, Rob. You're with us again, brother.
Am I back?
You're back.
Jack says I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you and I can see you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try plugging my headset back in. I hate technology.
I'm into that.
Yeah, it's not being nice to us this evening.
It is not being nice to us this evening.
So I was actually going to ask you about what rifle you travel with, but you kind of answered that question. You travel with all of them. Your truck is pretty much just a gun safe.
It pretty much is, yeah. But I guarantee I don't travel with all of them though. I've got, yeah, I have 2 or 3 addictions and weaknesses, and firearms is one of them.
So I typically don't travel with a rifle, and I've been thinking about adding one, and I was thinking about going with that 357 carbine.
Right.
But
that's not a bad choice.
If I ever did actually go out west, though, I'd probably want something that reached out a little farther.
I would advise it. Yeah.
I bet 5.56 is probably not. You guys probably frown at that a little bit, I would imagine, huh?
Not at all. No, not at all. In fact, pistol caliber carbines are fine out here. A buddy of mine that I build my rifles with, my whiskey buddy, he built his dad an AR platform 9mm,
Really?
and he drops coyotes and prairie dogs all the time with that thing.
Really?
Huh? Yeah, I was gonna show you my rifle. You think it's okay?
You can show it, just don't touch it.
Okay, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that guy.
So what am I looking at there? Is that an 18-inch barrel? Oh no, that's a 16-inch barrel with a suppressor.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I got a little slide to side 3-power, and then a regular holographic sight on there. Reflex sight. That's just both of those are just cheap sight marks, but they work pretty well. I've got a good EOTech I need to swap out with, but then I got to sight it back in. And, all that. So, and then of course I got pop-up irons on there that are co-witnessed with the holographic sight.
So did you say that 3-power is offset there?
Yeah. Yeah, it can pick up and slide back over and get in there, or I can kick it off to the side.
Oh, I see. So it's off
Yeah.
to the side, so you can use the holographic sight. But then if you want to use the
The-
magnification, you just flip it. Okay.
exactly. Exactly.
Does that hold at 0 pretty good?
Oh yeah, I've had great luck with it. Yeah, I dropped. In fact, one of the here what? Oh, it's been maybe a few weeks ago. I don't remember just when. Christy and I were out walking around the block, as it were, and I dropped a coyote at about 150 yards, something like that. You know, it's not as accurate. You know how reflex sights work. They got that great big thing on there, and the MOA on it is just huge. You know, the dot in the middle is as big
Yeah.
as the whole coyote's chest, but it still, yeah, it still puts it where it needs to be.
Yeah, that's cool. I have never actually used a holographic sight.
Have you not?
I have no experience with them whatsoever.
I guess you use red dots. Maybe did you ever use an ACOG or anything like that?
Nope.
I'll
We
be
carried the
dang.
A2. I got out in '99,
Uh-huh.
and we still had the A2s then. I was in the infantry. They just hadn't upgraded yet. And then when I went back I got recalled for a year in 2001.
Yeah.
And I didn't get issued a rifle that time because I was just freeing a man to fight. I wasn't actually useful. But I was very insulted. I'm like, why
I'm
did you guys
sure.
recall? If you don't need a guy holding a rifle, why do you need a guy in Kansas?
Right.
They did. So,
Okay.
so I never got to play with the ACOG or any of that stuff.
Uh,
And then because I'm just used to iron sights, I've just recently started using scopes. Because again, where I live, 100 yards, what do I need a
yeah,
scope for?
I
But
guess
my
that's right.
eyesight has started to get to the point where I do need the scopes now.
Yeah. And that's funny out here. I mean, when we go deer hunting and stuff like that, we anticipate if we're sitting in a blind with a feed.
Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow.
That's what I do.
A hog can take a pretty good hit and keep going.
You can't. Now you can kill. I've killed hogs with a 22 rifle,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd rather use a 308 and make sure.
Yeah. What I've been told is that that they've got a pretty big bone on the side, and that if you're shooting them from this, if you're shooting from the front or you got a headshot, it's not that bad. But that if you're trying to shoot them from the side, that if you hit that, I think it's a shoulder bone, that it can deflect a lot of. This is what I've
Maybe.
heard. I've never actually shot a. The
Yeah.
only
I'm not
hogs I've ever shot, I was slaughtering the hog for meat, and it was an appendant. I was
right.
shooting it in the forehead.
Sure.
So I've never actually shot a hog in the wild.
Okay.
But the
Hey,
guy I talked to, I was with the guy one time who did. We were deer hunting, and a hog came through, and he shot the hog, and he shot it with a 264.
a 264.
I think it was a Winchester Magnum. It was a really oddball round that I'd
That's an
never heard.
exotic caliber.
Yeah, and it was his dad's rifle. It was a beautiful, beautiful rifle. I want to say it was a Savage, but
Uh-huh.
I may be making that up. But it didn't have the warning marks in the barrel. It was old enough to predate that.
How about that?
And it was stupidly fast. I can't remember what the FPS on it, but it was just stupidly fast.
Oh yeah, 20 or a 270 or something like that. They just, for no bigger than that, no bigger diameter than you, they can still put some pretty good weight behind them. But the muzzle velocities are crazy on some of those.
Yeah, he said that the problem with the gun is he doesn't like to shoot it that much because it's so fast that you can burn up the barrel, in a really short amount of time. And that thing it wasn't a big hog. It was only about 100-pound pig, and it didn't even
That's a
go all the
good
way
eating
through
size.
which shocked me. But he was saying that he had shot it from the side. It was running across a road, and
Yeah.
it hit that shoulder blade, and it didn't even go all the way through that pig. And like I said, it
Mm.
was not a big pig, and it was a
Yeah.
hell of a round, and it was only
Yeah.
a 75-yard shot.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't a very far shot.
My oldest daughter killed a pig with that 223 that I was talking about a while ago. She was in a stand. If you come up, if you ever make it out here, I'll take you up to that place. I got a buddy that is about 2 hours away from me, 2.5 hours away. He runs cows on about 7 sections. You know what a section is, right?
No.
A section is a square mile of land.
Oh,
And
wow.
he's got about 7 sections that he runs cows on up there, and he just loves when I come out there and we shoot hogs. And but my girls used to go deer hunt there, and my oldest daughter got a pig out there one night. Wasn't a huge one. It was, I don't know, 120 pounds, something like that. With that 223, she nailed him. He ran about 50 yards in a circle. It took forever to find him because it was nighttime by the time we got there. But yeah, she dropped that pig.
Yeah, we've got the pigs. They're really good at hiding out here, though.
You bet.
It's hard to find them because we've got all these hollers and ravines and ridges, and
Yep.
they could just be over the next hill, and you'd have no idea unless you just
Yep.
happen to walk that direction.
We do the biggest part of the hog hunting that we do. I mean, sometimes in the daytime, but we go out at night a lot. We take thermals, nods, that kind of stuff. At nighttime, with that thermal scope, hogs don't have a chance, man.
Yeah, no, thermal is amazing.
Oh,
thermal is a game changer.
It is, man. It ain't cheap, but the year after the girls got killed, I had a huge job I was doing at the feedlot, and they paid me a big bonus for getting it done. They didn't think I could do it, and I got it done. They paid me a large bonus, and I used that to go buy a good thermal rifle scope.
Wow.
In fact, that rifle back there is set up. Okay, so an interesting thing. There it is. An interesting thing about that rifle. Both of those sights that are on there, that holographic sight and that slide to side magnifier, are both on quick detach clamps. So I can, in about 10 seconds, I can take both of those off and clip it back in, and it's good to go. And so I'm ready to go in a moment.
How long does the battery last on that thermal?
Boy, not as long as you would think. I've got 2 spare batteries that go with it, and each battery's good for a couple of hours, maybe something like that. 2 to 3 hours, depending. Partly depending on if it's real cold. When it's cold weather, the battery goes a lot quicker. But with those 3 batteries, I've got somewhere between 6 and 8 hours of hunting time, swapping them out.
Okay. Yeah, so
What's
someone
that?
here is saying that.
Who? What? Charlie's on here?
Yeah, he was saying that the thermal works great. He's seen you shoot 4 hogs in one session.
Yeah, Propane Charlie is a buddy of mine. His brother is one of my best friends, and he actually lives where I am in San Angelo. He lives outside of Big Spring, which is about an hour north of here. And they've got a hunting lease about halfway between here and Big Spring. That's where we did that. Yeah, Charlie's a good dude.
So is that wouldn't be too far from Sanko and then Robert Lee and all that?
No, from where their hunting lease is, I'll bet it's less than 15, 20 miles probably. Just right back over there. Their hunting lease is between Water Valley and Robert Lee. So yeah, where they are, not far at all. Not far at all.
I really want to get out there in the next few years and just see the old place. I shouldn't say the old place because I've never seen it before, but just see where the family came from, and because it was kind of a formative place in the family history.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. That's just I've done stuff like that. Go back to where I knew my people were from. Man, Zach, there is something, I don't know how to describe it, stabilizing or satisfying to be able to look at your family history way back like that. Over, I don't know if you know where it is, but north of Abilene, Texas, is where a lot of my mom's side of the family was. And I go out to the cemetery there, and there is probably 4 generations of my family, including one of my great granddads that fought in the Civil War. He's got the Confederate marker on his headstone, And there's just something about that, being able to go out there and go like, man, this is my history. This is my heritage here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I got to believe that
Roots
would
are
be the
important.
same thing for you. Yeah.
Roots
Yeah,
are
for sure.
important.
So we were okay. Go ahead.
No. You were going to say something interesting.
I was just going to say, we were talking about EDC and stuff like that. That's one of the things I made some notes that I sent that stuff we could talk about in case we couldn't find anything else to talk about, as if, you
Yeah.
know. But, traveling prepared and stuff, sometimes I feel like a weird dude because when Christy and I travel, even, 3 or 4 hours, we've got the stuff we need to deal with life if we have to do it. If we had one of the big things I think about, man, if something happened and all the power went off, which I think it's going to one day,
One
man, the
day.
electricity's going to go off and it ain't coming back. And so we are ready. If we had to walk back home, boy, it would suck balls, but we could do it. And hey, Charlie just said his son shot a huge boar tonight. Very cool. Very cool.
How big was he, Charlie?
Yeah, Charlie, how big of a boar? How big old boar was he?
You're not
But
trying to say he shot you, right?
not this time. I'll bet. But so anyway, Christy and I travel, man. We have got we so we've got communications, the radios, we've got the firearms, we've got some food, we've got the different stuff. I mean, when we travel, I travel with my thermal scope and with a set of nods. I say a set, it's a monocular, but we are ready to get back home if we have to. It's funny in the prepping where a lot of people talk about a get out bag, or what do they call it, a go bag or whatever. Um, I've got a get home bag. I want
Yeah.
to get back home. That's where my stuff is, man. I don't want to have to go bug out bag. That's the term I was trying to think of. Yeah, we plan to bug back in if we can, and so we're ready for. I think I'm a weird dude, but
Yeah, no, bug out is something you need to do right now. When people ask me what my bug out plan is or what I say about bug out, I always tell them the plan is to bug out right now. Why are you waiting until the roads are clogged and the emergency?
exactly.
You get
Yeah,
somewhere safe now.
that's right. And then if it turns out to be a big nothing burger, well, you can be like, okay, well, I feel, but you were okay because if it did turn out to be bad, you made the right choice.
Yeah. So I already live in one of the safest places on the East Coast.
Yeah,
You can do better, but not much.
right.
Like Sasquatch up there in northeastern Tennessee's got a better spot than I do. But yeah, it would have to be just something cataclysmic for me to leave here because it is doubtful that there's any place else any safer.
Exactly.
So I agree with you. I don't have a bug out bag. I have a slight bug out plan.
Yeah. I've got a couple of plans. I've got
But
2 or 3 different places depending on the scenario. Because that's the thing. Who knows what's going to happen, man? If anything happens, who knows what it'll be? So I've got 2 or 3 different locations that I'm ready to head to. Can be there in 3 to 5 hours.
So we had some wildfires a few years ago, which are pretty rare over here just because of how wet it is. We kind of live in a rainforest.
That's
A temperate rainforest, I think, is how they
uh-huh.
just not maybe not quite by the the numbers, but close. We get
Yeah.
I don't even know how much rain we get a year, but we get a lot of rain.
That's funny.
So we don't get
Different
wildfires a
world
lot.
from me.
What's that?
Different world from me.
Yeah. But we did have them probably about 6 or 7 years ago. They were really up in Tennessee, but we live real close to Tennessee where I can see Tennessee from here.
Huh?
So it was just in the back of my mind because we could see the fires. You could see them on the mountains and you could see the smoke and the whole 9 yards. So there are some things like that if a fire came through, yeah, obviously I'd probably have to move.
Right.
But unless it's just something like that, I'm not leaving. God forbid, North Korea launches nukes or something, I'm not
Yeah,
going. I'm staying right where I'm at. I'm where I need to be.
sure, sure.
But I do. Yeah, 250 pounds is a pretty good pig.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
do I do
that'll
believe in
put
get
you
home, and yeah, I tend to travel a lot for work. Spend a lot of time in Atlanta, back and forth, and so yeah, get home bags to me are a far bigger deal than a bug out bag.
for sure. You betcha.
Uh,
You betcha.
uh,
And it makes sense because at home is where all your things are. If something bad happens, everybody talks about, well, I'll go somewhere. When it comes down to it, though, nobody wants to go off and leave their stuff.
mhm.
Even if that's going to be a problem if something happens, because nobody wants to go leave their stuff. They're going to stay where they're more comfortable, even past the point where that's a good idea. I'm likely to be guilty of that myself.
Well, I mean, ideally, you're in a place that is safe, that is set up. That I
Hmm.
mean, like I guess it was saying for me, it would have to be a very severe threat for any other place to be a better option than where I'm at.
Correct.
Uh,
Correct.
so at that point, it's a refugee status thing. It's like,
And that's exactly right. Yeah, yeah. You take off and run. You are a refugee.
mhm.
And a lot of people don't think about it. You go somewhere. So like a lot of the guys that I know, people, especially people I go to church with, we've all got, including Charlie's brother. Charlie's brother Joel is part of this whole deal. Whose house do we go? Whose house is going to be safest? And you go there, and when you get there, you have to remember that you're in somebody else's kingdom, and that dude is the king, and you have to bow
Yeah,
to his wishes, no matter how bad that hurts, and
I
that's
yeah,
tough, man.
I had a mag that I kind of had to back away from because we had one guy in there who thought he was going to come here and be in charge,
Oh
and
no,
no
no,
one's in charge here
no,
but me, and
exactly.
one of us would have to die at that point.
It, right?
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoever's property you own is in charge. I'm gonna rely heavily on other people's advice and thoughts and opinions like that.
mhm.
But ultimately, the decision will fall to me whether to do what they think is best or what I think is best. And
You,
everybody has.
you know what? I'm in a very unique situation. I'm going to try to not. I can't say this and not brag. Okay, so I'm very very proud of what I'm about to say, and I'm not going to
Sure.
pretend like I'm not. But I also understand it's unique and it doesn't meet everyone's situation. But I'm in a place now where I have 8 sons, uh,
Yeah.
and uh, how 5 of them are of useful age. And my father is just on the outside of his strength, but he's still very useful. My father-in-law is just on the outside of his strength, but he's still very useful. Like
Hmm.
I am a mag of my own. Like
Right.
I don't need
Yeah.
anyone else.
No. Yeah. I got it.
I almost have a rifle squad by myself. Uh,
That's true.
so
Yeah.
I I said I mentioned stepping back from that mag, and this guy who was kind of talking like he was going to be in charge. Not a bad guy, nothing wrong with him. He was a smart guy. He had his stuff together. But I was looking at him thinking, you've got one son and he's 10 years old. You if you come here in an emergency and you're dealing with me and my 8 sons and my father and my father-in-law and my brothers and like
Yeah.
you're completely outnumbered.
That's right.
You just can't pretend like you're going to be
No.
anything
That
other than
that
a guest. I
that's
just have the
absolutely the wrong.
manpower.
Yeah. That's the wrong state of mind on his part, man. That's a setup for failure at the very beginning.
Yeah, yeah. This was just one of those supremely confident men who maybe wasn't completely justified in his confidence. He wasn't
Sure.
unjustified. He was a valuable man. He would be good to
Uh
have
huh.
around,
Yeah.
but he just wasn't thinking straight. I mean,
Yeah.
I represent too much manpower by myself
Right.
for him to have anything I really needed. Like
Exactly. Exactly.
men.
And that's the
If
other thing. If everybody comes to my house, most of them not going to be bringing as much to the table as I've already got on the table. You
Yeah.
know, I've got. Well, I mean, OPSEC again. Yeah, I'm set up for that kind of thing to a
Mhm.
great degree. I've got a cousin who is one of the people that's coming to my house, and he's one of the ones that does it right. He's got, man, I don't even know how many buckets of food he has already pre-positioned at my place.
That's the
He
valuable man.
he shows up and he's covered. I don't have to do nothing for him.
Don't
Yeah,
don't tell me how many guns you have. Tell me how many calories you have.
that's
That
exactly right.
that's what I want to
Yep.
know.
I
Beans and
got. If
rice.
somebody
Beans
shows
and
up
rice.
without guns, I got them covered. Show up without food. Well, okay, we'll figure it out, I guess.
But yeah, no. If you show up without the calories you need to sustain your people,
Yeah,
you are a burden. You are not a.
correct, correct. Unless you're really good at growing food, which is can be hard to do in the part of the world where I live. Rain.
Yeah, I
You're talking
bet.
about all the rain you get.
Hmm.
Our average rainfall on a good year is 17 inches.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've had in 2011, we got 4 inches of rain that year.
Hmm.
It was bad. It was
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
I know that we'll get 4 inches of rain a day sometimes.
Right.
Not frequently, but it happens.
Yeah.
That's crazy. No, we're blessed with a lot of rain, and then we have an incredible growing season. We can grow from February through to October, pretty much.
Wow. Not
Uh,
bad. Yeah.
uh,
Our last freeze is usually somewhere around the end of April, mid to late April. But we have had freezes as late as late May, and
yeah.
then our last freeze is typically late October. Sometimes sooner, sometimes later.
So yeah, we will still have. So the things that we can start growing in February though are like Irish potatoes, collards, broccoli,
Yeah.
the cold weather stuff. We can get
Yeah.
that in the ground in late February.
Right.
In fact, if we don't get Irish potatoes in late February, we're probably not going to have a good crop
Oh.
because it gets too hot and then they quit growing. They
Okay.
the tubers stop growing when the ground temperature gets to like 82 degrees, the potatoes stop growing.
How
So if
about
you
that?
just don't get them in the ground quick enough, then you're just not gonna. You're gonna have those little baby potatoes like they
Yeah.
serve in
Yeah.
fancy restaurants. Uh,
What kind of high temperatures do y'all get there in the summertime?
so you're. Uh, it's actually been cooler the last 2 or 3 years. I don't know if you believe in the grand solar minimum or not. I do, but
Absolutely. We're not there, but yeah.
typically we're going to see high 90s through July and August.
Okay.
So you're going to spend 2 months of July and August, around 92 to 96, 97, 98.
Okay.
Occasionally we'll touch 99 or 100, but it's very, very, very rare. It's usually more like 95
Okay.
but then the humidity out here
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
pretty stifling.
I'm sure. What kind of low temperatures? What are your low temperatures in the wintertime?
So usually 16 will be our absolute low. Every once in a while we'll see a single digit, and it's a big deal. You talk about it for years.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
we got down to 19 already this year once, and it was a big deal.
Right.
Like that normally only will happen in late January, mid January. You'll get a week or two where it's true winter weather where you're down in the teens at night.
Hmm.
But also, I've done Christmas in the 70s before too.
That's
Like
what we're going to do this year, Zach. We're
really,
probably going to have timber. Good grief! Christmas is probably going to be 75 degrees here this year. That's insane
wow,
for us. Yeah,
wow.
insane. Our temperatures in the summertime, a lot of times we rank how hot the summer was by how many days over 100 degrees that we
Mm,
had. And I think the hottest there's about 2 hours north, an hour and a half north of where we live. There's a place called Palo Duro Canyon, and it's they called the miniature Grand Canyon because just of what it is. It's really cool, beautiful place. Christy and I camped down there some years ago. Quite a few years ago. We camped down there. It was 117 degrees
mm,
while we were in there. And
mm,
I've often seen temperatures where I live of 110, 112, that kind of thing. Not uncommon at all.
mm.
Average temperatures in the summertime are high 90s and low to mid. Like 105 is not uncommon. 105 is fairly routine. In the wintertime, we rarely go below zero, but sometimes we do. We
Really?
get, yeah, yeah. We are far enough north that we get some significant cold temperatures. You
Wow.
know, um, I remember, I remember back in 2010, I think it was, one of the grain silos I was working on, a couple hundred feet up in the air. The wind was blowing like 30 miles an hour. We were working up there, and the temperature was 8 degrees, and it,
Wow.
it was
Miserable.
miserable. Yeah,
Yeah, the coldest I've ever been was in the high desert, and it had been 120 degrees that day.
yeah.
Uh, and it dropped down into the mid 60s that night, and I thought I was going to die.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I was in the cold weather bag, and I was still cold.
Wow.
Uh,
How about that? When I lived in Breckenridge, Colorado, I think the coldest I ever saw was minus 50, either minus 52 or minus 54. I don't remember. It
that
was
would have
just.
been the last. That would have been the last sunset I ever saw in Colorado. I hope it would have been pretty one because I would not have seen another one.
No, my God. Yeah, up there where we lived, minus 20 was, I mean, that was common. Minus 30 was not very, not unknown. Minus 40 was occasional, but that time, boy, howdy. And you know what? It did not feel as cold
Oh,
as.
shut up! No, I'm sorry. You're crazy. You're just lying to me. I'm sorry, Rob. I can't go there with you, brother. I don't want to hear. It was a dry cold. Nuh-uh.
It was interesting. There were lots of times up there. We had days when it'd be 20 below, and if the sun was shining and there wasn't any wind, you'd be out in just a light jacket, and it wasn't terrible. I don't know why. It makes no sense.
No,
I
sir.
think the wind is what makes it, and the humidity. The wind and the humidity make the difference.
I am. See, our low tonight is 34. I am on an enclosed porch
Yeah.
with a wood stove,
Yep.
and I have on a padded jacket, a wool sweater, and a long sleeve shirt and a t-shirt underneath that.
Yep. No, I
I
get it.
do not play around with the cold. I do
I
not like it.
I get it. Yeah, and I'm
We,
I'm partial to cooler weather. I really am.
we don't have air conditioning in this place because when we
Oh,
moved out here, we were broke as a bicycle,
right.
and I couldn't. It didn't work, and I couldn't replace it, and so we just. And I didn't have air conditioning growing up, so I was used to it. But my poor wife grew up in Massachusetts. She's a Yankee
Oh,
girl,
right.
and she was struggling in this house the first 2 years.
I'll bet Mariah was not a happy girl.
Not happy. I gave her a window unit in the bedroom,
Good man.
but well, it was not. It was bad because what ended up happening because we had 9 kids.
Hmm.
Uh, I came into the marriage with 6 kids, and she came in with 3.
Yep.
Uh, and so I'd come home from work, and there'd be 10 people who had spent all day long in that bedroom. And it's not a big bedroom; it's like 14 by 14.
Uh huh.
But it's so hot and miserable you can't leave the room, and so they would
Right.
all just be piled up in that room all day long. And
Yep.
I'd come home, and it was just chaos. It was unhealthy.
Mm.
So I took it out, turned it off, and she had to acclimate, and she did acclimate. And now we can't like this has been my whole life. If I go to Walmart in the summer, I'm miserable because it's so cold in there,
How about that?
I can't deal with it. It's too
I'm
cold.
jealous. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I have never ever been real good in the heat. I think I was because I remember. I remember when I was in high school and just out, man, it'd be roasting hot sometimes, and I'd be okay with it.
Mhm.
But maybe moving up to Colorado and living in winter wonderland up there for 20 years, maybe that did it to me. I don't know.
I never had air conditioning growing up. I had it in the Marines, and that was the only time I've ever had air conditioning.
Now that's funny. I'm surprised that they did there.
Oh yeah, yeah. They take pretty good care of you. They really do kind of coddle you because you're no good to them. You're hurt
Yeah,
and
good
unhealthy.
point. Good point.
But I just always we've never had it. Even when I was on roofs a lot and driving, I wouldn't turn the air on in the truck because I'd be getting in and out of the truck as many as 10 times a day.
Yeah,
And if you go from that even if you put it like 72 degrees and you're in that cool 72-degree truck, and then you get out and you're going up on a 110-degree roof, and then you get off the roof and you go back in that truck, it was
Uh-huh.
just playing havoc with my system.
Sure.
So I ended up not running the air in the truck anymore. And obviously you sweat like a dog. Now I'm not acting like it doesn't,
Oh, of course.
but it doesn't affect me as far as I'm not uncomfortable or miserable or wanting to kill myself or anything. Some people talk
Yeah.
about the heat and the humidity.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine. I'm good with it. And
So
then
Zach, what do you do? I don't know what you do. What is your profession? What do you do for a living?
so I'm a little bit of a roustabout. For the last 5 years, I've done wildlife exclusions, which that just means exactly what it sounds like. When squirrels or raccoons or possums, those are the three things we deal with the most. That and rats.
Yeah.
When they get into a house, you got to go and close up all the holes all around the house and then trap the animals out of the house.
No, okay.
So the majority of the job is ladder work, going around the roof line and closing up all the holes along the roof line.
Right.
And then the overlaps and the soffits and the fascias and the overhangs and all that stuff. So it's a little bit like construction or carpentry, but very niche, very narrowly focused.
Sure. You work
Now,
for
I'm
yourself or
actually
someone else?
I'm changing over to do commercial lighting. This isn't all hammered out for sure yet, but it looks like I'm going to start working for a big company that needs people to maintain the lights in their parking lots and in the stores,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually kind of similar. A lot of ladder work, a lot of
Yep.
heights.
Yep.
And it's just all stuff I'm used to, because we would do 40-foot, 3 stories. We would do up to 3-story houses, which isn't, it's not as high as a 200-foot tall grain elevator, but it's still pretty high on a ladder. And
You bet. Heck yeah.
So there's a lot of crossover between the two. It's going to be slightly better pay. It's going to be less hours. I'm not going to have to drive down to Atlanta. I'm going to be able to stay in the local. So I'm
Atlanta.
really
Oh my
excited.
gosh, Atlanta. Oh.
Atlanta is awful.
Yes. It is awful. So
it's not
do you
as
work
bad as, say, Philadelphia or Baltimore or any of those, but
only
that's
by
not
a
saying
small
much.
percentage? Yeah. So do you work for
So it's
yourself or do
way
you work?
better than Baltimore. Baltimore is an absolute perianal pour. Like,
Oh wow.
Baltimore is one of the worst places on the East Coast.
I've never been there.
Yeah, it's bad. I haven't spent much time there, but I've been there a few times for a little bit. And
All right. So do you work for yourself, or you are like a subcontractor? You work for someone else?
Subcontractor, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not an entrepreneurial type. I don't do well by myself. I need to have a little bit of structure and a little bit of every once in a while someone needs to be able to light a fuse in my ass. And,
I understand.
if I get bored, I start wandering, and
Yeah.
I need some pretty firm left and right lateral limits sometimes. So
Right.
I have worked for myself in the past, and it doesn't go well. I always end up, drifting a little bit. So
sure.
I will do much better when I have someone with a little bit of accountability. But I admire men who can, that entrepreneurial thing is a big deal, and I admire men who have it. And I wish I was more like that. I'm just not.
Yeah, that's
and I
okay.
think it means I'll probably live a lot longer, because I won't have all the hypertension and the heart attack issues that small businessmen do.
Yeah, maybe that.
So
Good grief.
there's a silver lining.
Sure. And if you like what you do, man, that's the main thing. It really is.
I do. I like working with my hands. I like traveling around. I just do better when I'm around people. I'm doing things with my hands, and I have small tasks that I can complete and say, okay, this job is done, and I'm going on to the next job.
Yes, and I did that.
Yeah.
I get it.
I've done some factory work where it's just the never-ending stream of the same thing coming through, and it's like never ending.
Yes.
And
correct. Correct.
I can't do
I
it.
have to have some variety. I have to have some changes and do some different stuff. I'm working on a for a grain elevator one week, and then I'm neck deep in a fertilizer plant the next week, and then up on the roof of a grocery store, running conduit the next. I mean, yeah, I like different stuff. I've done jobs where it was the same thing over and over and over, and just like, whoa,
Yeah.
you know,
If a young man came to me and asked me what I thought he should do with his life right now,
yeah,
I would tell him 100% go be an electrician. You know, that's just the best job, the best trade. It's the best money for the least amount of horse shit.
yeah.
Uh, that's one of my sons who just one of the ones who just joined the Marines. He's a journeyman electrician. He's working
Oh,
towards his he's in the reserves, so he's going to keep doing electrical stuff and just do
yeah,
his weekend stuff. But I was very, very pleased when he dropped out of college and became an electrician. I
sure.
was just like, "Good job, son."
Yeah, yeah. Electricians, welders, man, dang, almost any of the trades now. You know, electrician, plumber, welder, uh, mechanics, all that kind of stuff. There is so much demand. Even guys that just they do handyman stuff. They go and they'll repair a gate, or they'll just little dinky stuff like that. There's a huge demand for that.
Yeah,
you know,
I wouldn't
and
want to.
and you think, oh, that doesn't pay much, but people will pay big money. So I learned a lesson when I was in Colorado working for myself early on. I was doing electrical stuff and snow plowing, and I did a lot of septic work, like septic tanks and sewer systems and stuff like that. You know, the electrics involved in that. And I learned a valuable lesson from a guy that had built a huge business on that kind of thing. He said people will pay in what's the word in scales gradual. Basically, the more that they either can't do something or don't want to do something, they'll pay more for it, and
Yeah,
that's how that works.
so I wouldn't want to be a plumber. I
No,
know
me
the
either.
money
I
is
hate
good,
plumbing.
but I don't want to mess with people's waste, and I don't. You end up doing disgusting things in crawl spaces,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
some of those crawl spaces are there's not enough room in there to even turn your head, and you're
exactly.
trying to work in plumbing and sewage stuff, and
Yep, yep.
and
It
you're
it
literally
it.
got to crawl through it, and you
Yep,
can't
it's
even lift your
disgusting.
head up out of it sometimes because the
Yep,
crawl space is so low.
yep.
So plumbing would not be my first choice unless the pay was really, really good,
Well, if you
or
work for
new
yourself, the
construction.
pay is really, really good.
Yeah, new construction would be the
Sure,
caveat to that, because then
sure.
the crawl spaces aren't bad and you're not dealing with
Yep.
any gross stuff.
So when I was in Colorado, some of the stuff I did was that really horrible, nasty stuff you're talking about, and it wasn't. I didn't get into that intentionally. I tried to avoid that. But a buddy of mine bought uh, a honey dipper truck. If you know what that is, it's a vac truck that he pumps out septic tanks and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
up in Colorado, and I'm guessing it might be similar where you live. Up in Colorado, there's no flat ground, and so if you've got a septic tank and leach field, leach lines, the the water does not naturally flow gravity fed from the septic tank down to the leach lines. There's a pump in there that pumps that water into the leach field, and that's where I came in. He called me. In fact, I remember when he bought that truck. I was plowing snow, pushing. I had a snow plowing business, and he pulled up, and I saw the honey dipper truck coming. That was the name of the business, the back truck. And I was like, and he stopped, and I was like, what does this guy want? And I rolled my window down, and he rolled his window down, and it was my buddy Mark. And I was like, what the hell are you doing in that thing? He said, I bought a new business. I said, yeah, I see that. I said, what's wrong with you? He said, no, man. And I mean, he did great with it. But he called me one day. He said, hey, man, you know about electricity? I was like, yeah. He said, I got a pump I can't figure out here. It's not working quite right. He said, suppose you can come give me a hand with it? I said, yeah, probably. I said, where are you? And then I remember what he was doing. I was like, hey, where are you? He's like, don't worry about it. Just come out here. I'll show you. You don't have to touch anything. I'm like, I ain't touching nothing. And so I get out there, and I wouldn't get within 6 feet. He was standing in that septic tank. I'm like, oh, that's disgusting.
Mm.
And it went from there. He called me over and over and over, and it went from there. Gradual stages of awful. to the first time that I actually, reached down in one of those tanks, to the first time I climbed into one of them, to the first time my foot slipped and the water came over the top of my boot. And
Oh
it gets worse until one time, and I mean more and more into it. And then, and of course, as I learned more about it, I picked up Keystone, Colorado was one of my big, Keystone Ski Resort was one
Oh
of
yeah.
my big customers. They'd have tanks that were 30 feet deep with, 20 horse grinder pumps in it. Mark and I were down in a tank for the town of Breckenridge one time, trying to figure out a problem. There was a pump down there, and I realized, okay, the motor's bad. We got to swap it out. And there was a pipe, 2-inch pipe coming down, and we were trying to break that pipe loose, and it wouldn't break loose. Big uh, coupler on there that we were trying, a union holding the pipes together. And we had like 3-foot pipe wrenches on it, and we're like, okay, man, this thing's stuck. We're going to work. Well, we found out when we broke it loose, the reason it wouldn't break loose is because it was still under pressure. Because when we broke it loose, the pipe came up.
Oh.
Yeah, the pipe came apart, and we both got sprayed in the face hard with
Oh.
that, and it was more disgusting than you can imagine. But of course, at that point, we'd had all our hepatitis shots and our tetanus shots and all that kind of stuff, and it's just like, oh my gosh. But it proved the point that people pay to the degree that they can't do something or don't want to do something, and I got to where I was not afraid to shove it right up somebody's butt to charge for what we were doing.
Oh no, you charge whatever you can get for that job.
You bet you, and
That
they'll
is
pay it. They'll pay
miserable.
it. There was a house I used to do a lot of occasional work on. I worked for a property management. I did service calls for a property management, and it was just a toilet in the downstairs basement kind of area, and it wasn't plumbed in right or something because that toilet would plug up regularly. I was there 4 or 5 times a year with just a regular closet auger, toilet snake, cleaning it out. And I went there one time. It was the guy that actually owned the place. One of my favorite stories. And the guy he was there. I got there. He said, "Yeah, it's downstairs." I said, "Yeah, I know where it is." I said, "I've been here lots of times." So I went down there with my snake, and I, zip, zip, zing, zing, back out, and it's working great. He's like, "Oh, that's terrific, man." He said, he said, that was great. I said, "What do I owe you?" I said, $40. And this is like 1995. He's like, $40. He said, "You were only here about 5 minutes. How come so much?" I said, "Well, I'll tell you." And I held that snake out to him. I said, "Hold that for me a second." He's like, "I ain't touching that." And I'm like, "There you go." And he's like, "I see your point." You wrote me a check.
Yep. No, if you're willing to do the hard work, you get to charge the hard money.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it was nasty, but it's like anything. You get used to it and you figure it out. It's like working on electricity. Every once in a while something is going to blow up, and that's part of the deal.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't have much experience with electricity. That's one of the reasons why I'm kind of excited about this new job is I'm going to get to move more into the electrical field
Yeah, you will.
uh, and maybe a little bit of maintenance. And maintenance pays good. I'm sorry,
It
especially
does.
doing industrial
Yeah,
maintenance.
yeah, yeah. Stuff that needs to be done. My
Refriger-
wife, my wife posted a comment there. She's like, "Don't stop me if you heard this story. I'd love to hear myself tell it." That was a friend. A friend of ours. Friend of ours used to say that.
But anyway, yeah, I love the trades. I love that my son's an electrician
Yep.
because I get to call him and have him come fix things for me too.
That's handy. That's handy.
I added a bedroom in the house recently,
Oh, cool.
and I called him out, and I put outlets everywhere. Like I just put multiple light fixtures here, multiple outlets on every wall.
Yeah.
Under cabinet lighting. I had an electrician for a day, and I just used the hell out of him. I had
Yeah.
to wire the
Yeah.
whole thing.
You point and say do.
Yeah. Whereas, if it'd been me doing it, I would have found one outlet from the other room and just, pulled the wire. No, I had him pull me all the way back to the panel and
Heck
install
yeah.
a new breaker, the whole 9
You
yards.
bet. You bet.
It was like a kid in the candy store.
Wow.
That poor boy spent all weekend with his old man running wires.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, "Okay, Dad. Yeah, I won't be back here for a while."
Yeah, I probably didn't see him for 6 weeks after that.
Yeah, call him up. Hey, you want to come by? Like, no,
No.
I don't. I don't.
I got cigars, son. He's like, yeah, cheap $2 cigars. That's not worth wiring a whole room for $2 cigar.
Go get some Garcia in Vegas, and then maybe. Oh my gosh,
But yeah,
Zach,
that's pretty cool.
I can't wait to actually get together with you someday and have a few drinks and some cigars, man. Do some shooting. That'll be a good time.
That'd be a good time. I'm definitely coming out to Texas in the next 5 years. Go out to, like I said, Sanko and all that. And,
Yeah.
I haven't been through Texas since I was a kid. I was probably in my 20s the last time I was through there.
Yeah.
I've flown into Houston a few times over the years, but that doesn't count.
Right? No.
Fort Worth.
Yeah. Yeah. Big cities. I mean, that's Texas, but it ain't really Texas.
Yeah. My one of my daughters lives in between, somewhere outside of Dallas Fort Worth now. So
really,
yeah, she's a smart girl. She did real well for herself. She joined the Air Force and got trained as in weather. I don't want to say weather girl, but she actually predicts the weather.
Okay.
And she would, when anytime they were doing flight operations, they would have a couple of these weather people around. Did you give them an on-the-spot, localized weather report for what was going on right there at the moment?
Okay.
And apparently, airports still have to have that.
Oh, sure. I guess so. Yeah.
So when she got out, she was able to get a job at, I think it's at Dallas Fort Worth. Actually, she's at the big airport. And she just monitors the micro weather right there at the airport.
How about that?
Yeah. So
that's a pretty slick deal.
It's a pretty slick deal. She gets paid pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's a critical job. She's got pretty good job security, and I'm pretty pleased with her. But
nice. She married and got kids?
She's just got engaged. No kids yet. She's 23 or 24. She's still relatively young.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that maybe we get some grandkids out of her soon.
You bet. You bet. Yeah, my youngest daughter moved to Houston about almost a year ago now. I'm not happy. All of a sudden I have no kids in my house, and that ain't how it's supposed to be. But brother, the last 6 years have been hard, and the last couple of years have been hard too, man. So
yeah,
life goes on, I guess.
But grandchildren are coming, sir.
We will
grandchildren are life's great reward.
I have heard that. I hope you're right.
Grandchildren are a wonderful thing. I've got 5 of them now.
Yeah, I saw that picture you sent me earlier.
That's my youngest grandbaby.
Man. How about that? Pretty good. Zach, I suppose I should probably get off here. My wife has been very patient sitting over there waiting for me. We hadn't had supper yet, and she's got to go back to hawking her hair. She got to go shake that moneymaker again tomorrow. So
all right, sir. Well, Rob, you were incredibly entertaining. I appreciate you making me look good with this interesting conversation.
It's been a great. I knew it was going to be a good visit, Jack. I had no doubt. I knew it was going to be a good visit.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. So now we got to get I got to start going through your contact list and have some more of these. We should get 8 on here.
Yeah.
Try to wrangle Wes. I haven't done anything with Wes in a while.
Yeah. Wes has kind of kept a low profile lately. I mean, I have too, I guess, but yeah, for sure.
You know what? Both of us should get C103 on the stream.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. Mark's always got. Is that okay to say? There's an option.
I don't know. I just go with screen names.
Yeah. He's a sharp dude and a saxophone player too. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't want to say too many nice things about him because he'll get a big head. But, and he's already got a pretty big head.
I was going to say he's a big boy. I guess it's okay to have a big head.
Yeah. I'm not sure what hat size he wears, but it's probably whatever the biggest one is.
And I can tell you, Abe's got some good stories too. I don't know how many of them he'll be comfortable telling, but when you were talking about that thing at the VFW, I'm like, yeah, Abe can relate to that with his experiences pretty well.
Yeah, that was a rare occurrence for me. That doesn't happen very often anymore.
That's probably just as well.
Yeah, I've aged out of a lot of that foolishness over the years, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So Mike says that when we go to Texas, that we can go up to Montana too. We can just
Right,
do a
because
loop.
that's not out of the way at all.
No, it's that makes sense. You just look. You just got to go to Texas, turn right. It's
Yeah.
right. It's just a day trip.
Yeah, just a 2-day trip.
I would love to go to Montana though.
Oh,
That would be a lot of
Montana's
fun.
cool. I've spent time in Montana. It's on the way to so happy here, putting on the way to Alaska. The year
Yeah.
we got married, her and I did a trip. We lived in Breckenridge, Colorado. We did a no, what's the word? No schedule,
Hmm.
no hard, no whatever.
Yeah.
We did a trip to Alaska. That trip lasted 2.5 months.
Oh
And
wow.
it was, man, yeah, we drove up from Breckenridge, Colorado to Alaska. By the time it was over, I'd put just under 8,000 miles on my pickup,
Wow.
and it was a crazy good trip.
Really, it was worth it, huh?
Yo, absolutely. And that was back when I used to make. Oh, Jack, I used to have money. I used to make money. We did that trip 2.5 months. Got home and I had more money than when I left. that was the good old days.
Yeah. Yeah, the good old days are well, they're good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's why they call them the good old days.
Yep, yep. First stop was 2 nights in the Cabela's parking lot while I was provisioning.
All right, I guess you need to go feed that young woman, huh?
I should. Yeah, young woman. We talked about that, didn't we?
Yep. All right,
Jack,
sir.
it was man. I look forward to getting together with you in person. I really did.
I appreciate you investing all this time in me, sir.
Absolutely, brother. You're a good dude. Everybody knows it.
I appreciate that. I want to do this, but we'll talk to you soon, okay, sir?
All right, man. Take care of yourself.
All right, good night.
Good night. I got to figure out how to get off here now.
Hit the X.
Just that easy.
Yep.
Oh, wait.